This young man is named Lin Feng. From a young age, he had to bear the label of being the son of a traitor, enduring endless bullying and humiliation. In the moment he thought he was about to die, the all-world's plunder system appeared, helping him to rise up powerfully. So what if everyone thinks he's a bad person? He's just walking his own path, traversing the heavens, plundering, hacking, slapping the faces of villains, leveling up, and retaliating. He wants to make everyone no longer dare to look down on him, and wants to clear his parents' names. What will his journey of conquest through the myriad worlds be like? Let's all follow Kingdom Manhwa to watch this exciting story. In a forest, a man staggered over with an injured arm, cursing, "Damn it, you did it on purpose, didn't you? The child of a traitor really can't be trusted. We almost got killed by a dire beast." A white-haired young man was knocked to the ground. He cried out as if to explain, I didn't. But that guy showed no mercy, giving him another kick in the back, causing him to cry out in pain. The blonde guy shouted loudly, "You good for nothing, you can't even scout ahead properly." Another person said, "This idiot doesn't even know." During this trial, some people will die. No one will care if a traitor's son dies. Suddenly, a girl with a hot figure, followed by 3 female students in uniforms, the most outstanding girl, spoke up for the young man. It's not entirely his fault. No matter what, Lin Feng is still a classmate. How can you be so cruel? A blonde female student standing behind the young man retorted, "Classmate? I saw him sneaking into the women's bathroom to take pictures the other day. He's a scumbag." The girls were all very surprised, and there were whispers all around. "His parents are traitors, what's impossible? My underwear was stolen too, it must have been him. He's such a pervert. The case of a girl being tortured to death before, maybe he's the murderer." The young man named Lin Feng was lying on the ground. He tried hard to defend himself. "What peeping, what underwear, what torture, murder? I didn't do it, don't slander me." The man in yellow pointed directly at Lin Feng's face, insulting him. "As expected, you're a scumbag. Your parents colluded with the enemy and betrayed the country. And you have a perverted mentality. This kind of person doesn't deserve to live, let's all beat him to death." He was extremely frightened, his eyes filled with those who were about to deal with him, and the shouts of "Beat him to death, beat him to death. Beat this traitor to death." They were about to rush to beat Lin Feng severely. Suddenly, painful memories from his childhood flashed in his mind. The young Lin Feng was screaming in despair, "I'm not a traitor, my parents aren't traitors either." The boy ran to where his parents were being held by armed men, and blurted out, "Dad, Mom." The boy cried loudly, begging those people, "My parents are heroes, why are you arresting them?" They replied sternly, "Lin Outyan and Lin Yu are suspected of colluding with the enemy and betraying the country. Now, officially execute the arrest warrant, please don't interfere." Lin Feng retorted, "No, my parents must have been wronged, someone framed them." Back to the present, he was being beaten and kicked badly. They cursed him, "Lin Feng, there are so many witnesses, you still want to argue?" Another one shouted, "Beat him to death. If you admit that you're a perverted scumbag, and bow your head and apologize to us, maybe I'll be generous and merciful and spare you." Suddenly he struggled up and said firmly, "Don't even think about it. You want to frame me. I will not admit to things I have never done, even if I die." As soon as he finished speaking, a blue system appeared, and a strange voice sounded, checking that the host has encountered injustice. Beyond the limit, the all-world's plunder cross-dimensional system is activated. The system continued to inform Lin Feng, as long as the host calmly accepts all unfounded accusations, the system will give the host a chance to change his destiny. He thought suspiciously, "What the hell is this system? Why are you asking me to admit things I didn't do? Are you in league with them?" The voice immediately affirmed, "Host, please don't doubt the system's loyalty. The system's only tenet is to help the host become truly powerful. If everyone thinks you are a bad person, then why fall into the endless trap of proving your innocence?" Lin Feng opened his eyes and said angrily, "The trap of proving myself?" He thought, that's right, people's mouths can melt metal, and slander can shatter bones. Only by becoming truly strong can I avoid being bullied. He smiled in pain and thought, so what if I'm wronged? Back to reality, Lin Feng admitted to the bullies, "Those dirty things you said, I admit them." He continued to shout loudly, kicking those people away, "That's right, Chu Hao you told me to take the pictures, and he has backups. As for the stolen underwear, just go look under his pillow." After saying that, Lin Feng disappeared from the place. They cursed in frustration, "Why can't we see him anymore? Damn it!" After that, Chu Haoyu was interrogated by the others, big bro, share a little." He could only guiltily argue, "What are you guys looking at me for? This is a frame-up." Absolutely a frame-up. The hot girl from before immediately darkened her face and called out his name in a low voice, Chu Haoyu. It could be seen that he would not be able to live in peace with the crimes he had committed. The scene changed to a vast blue ocean with calm waves. Right on the beach, Lin Feng was washed ashore, lying face down as if unconscious. He slowly opened his eyes and muttered, looking at the surrounding scenery. Lin Feng struggled to get up. The sky had turned a deep red color of sunset. Suddenly, a giant purple dragon emerged from the sea, its mouth spewing lightning like thunder, and he wondered, what is this? Suddenly, a blue panel appeared in front of Lin Feng. It read, All Worlds Plunder System, checking abundant thunder power. Do you want to plunder the thunder power? Below were two options, confirm or cancel. Lin Feng exclaimed in surprise, cross-dimensional, plunder? The dragon suddenly opened its mouth and spat out a huge bolt of lightning. He thought, this attack, combined with the powerful thunder and lightning power, is it an open-world game? Have I transmigrated into a game? Lin Feng immediately chose plunder without hesitation. He thought, with the power of that lightning god, I can walk around proudly in the future. A bolt of lightning struck, wrapping around his hand, and there was an explosion. He smiled happily and said, Is this the feeling of awakening power? As long as I have powerful strength, what are the crimes those clowns imposed on me? If you all think I'm evil, then I'll be evil for you to see. He knelt down, raised his face to the sky, and laughed heartily, shouting, Chu Haoyu, Chu Wenbo, you just wait for me. Back in the original forest, a brown-haired female student was accusing the black-haired guy. Damn it, you wanted to harass me again. He retorted, What, you want to go back on your word? I split half of my trial points with you. Suddenly, from a distance, Lin Feng came unhurriedly with a bright electric light surrounding him, surprising both of them. Lin Feng approached them and said arrogantly, I thought it was someone, but it turned out to be you, a simp. The black-haired guy named Chu Wenbo laughed loudly and said, I thought it was someone, but it turned out to be you, the good-for-nothing. You were lucky enough to escape death once before. What do you want to do coming here now? Lin Feng raised his hand, and dazzling golden lightning danced on his fingertips. He smiled and said, What do I want to do? A scumbag like me, of course I'm here to do evil. The black-haired guy asked in fear, What's going on? When did you awaken your supernatural power? The blonde girl interrupted, Lin Feng, you, calm down, we're classmates. He replied, Classmates? You guys see me as an unforgivable scumbag. I have to do something worthy of the title you gave me, right? Hand over all your trial points to me. The blonde girl behind him was secretly summoning a small light blue sphere, while trying to negotiate with him. Lin Feng, don't be impulsive. Suddenly, a bolt of golden lightning struck her, causing her to only scream in pain. He calmly exposed her. You still want to inform others? You're tired of living, aren't you? In his hand was a cluster of golden lightning spinning into a small circle. Wenbo was now cowering. He panicked and said, You, don't come over, I'll give you everything. Lin Feng's expression became cruel. He said, I don't need your stuff, on the contrary, I've prepared a lot of gifts for you. Feel the power of thunder. At the same time, huge clusters of lightning flashed right in front of him. He screamed in pain, Stop it. It hurts too much. No, don't. I was wrong, okay? I was wrong. He replied, No, I've never owed anyone anything. Surrounding him were bolts of lightning covering his body. Lin Feng said as he rushed forward, I didn't have the ability before, but now I have the strength. I have to repay it 100-fold. The lightning spread out, knocking him to the ground. Lin Feng arrogantly said, Bear with it, my after effects are very strong. He could only scream, Don't stop it. From a distance, a group of people saw the scene of thunder and lightning resounding across the sky. They couldn't help but exclaim, The power of thunder is really strong. One of them suddenly recognized that, isn't that the direction Chuji just went? At Lin Feng's location, Chu Wenbo had fainted on the ground. His eyes rolled back, motionless. Lin Feng had a sinister face, talking to himself. Next, who should I look for? I won't let any of the people who bullied me go. Suddenly a voice sounded, Congratulations to the host for receiving 500 villain points. He wondered, villain points? What is that? This can be the basic currency of the villain system. Open the system to see where it can be used. Looking at the panel in front of him, Lin Feng sighed. As expected, those who awaken early are all low-level awakeners. Suya and Chu Haoyu were already Qi initiates 2 years ago. At the same time, the system announced, No supernatural power experience, unable to upgrade the level of supernatural power users. He said in surprise, So I can't use villain points to upgrade? Is it used in the store? At the same time, the system rang out, The store has been activated. Host, please choose freely. Lin Feng was suddenly surrounded by information panels with different numbers. He looked at them for a long time and said, each commodity has a very high value, but the price is too expensive. Or try refreshing it twice. He clicked the refresh button on the screen. Although the commodities and prices were different, he still didn't have enough money to buy them. He rubbed his chin and said, still can't buy anything. Does this system want to force me to do hard labor? At the same time, a notification rang out. Congratulations to the host. Due to spending 100 villain points, you have received a newbie reward of 10 draws. Lin Feng cheered, swiping his hand on the virtual screen while smiling. Fortunately, there's a newbie reward. Can't delay. Start drawing 10 times in a row. The system voice sounded. Host, please pay attention. During the draw process, there is a chance to receive all store items. Congratulations to the host for receiving a 10-fold supernatural power boost card for 10 seconds. He said with satisfaction, although I didn't draw a rainbow tier item, a 10-fold supernatural power boost card is not bad. The system announced again, villain points are still lacking 1,200, please replenish in time. Lin Feng thought sinisterly, 160 villain points can only draw once? Looks like I have to find a few more unlucky rookies. Hopefully I can draw the cross-dimensional card and start another plunder. The scene changed to a pit in the middle of the forest. In the middle of the pit was a newly defeated monster and 3 female students standing there. One of the 3 spoke. Why is this trial so difficult? I'm almost exhausted. Another one replied, it's okay, we've earned enough points to pass. The short-haired girl said, it's rumored that Su Ye is suppressing her strength, planning to break the record, she's too awesome. A hefty girl replied, that bitch only knows how to show off all day. So disgusting. The short-haired girl raised her face to the sky, criticizing Su Ye sourly. That's right, it's already difficult for us female students to be independent. Unexpectedly she's always at the top. But there's nothing we can do, she just has a good body, and has to go entertain those wealthy and powerful guys on weekends. Lin Feng was leaning against a large tree nearby, secretly listening to everything. The girls continued to speak ill of her. Do you know about this? It's said that the person who's been supporting her is an ugly old man who's a high-ranking officer in the military region, so all her self-cultivation resources are exchanged with her body. It's really shocking. After hearing them speak, Lin Feng angrily thought, these gossips can't compare to others, so they slander and falsely accuse people behind their backs. You guys are good. And the thing about falsely accusing me of taking pictures in the bathroom, stealing underwear, it was you guys. He stepped in front of them, provoking them. I thought it was someone, but it turned out to be a bunch of stray dogs barking here. The 3 of them looked at him in surprise. Is it him, Lin Feng? The short-haired girl pointed at his face, laughing with a sarcastic mockery. Lin Feng, what qualifications does a good-for-nothing who hasn't awakened his supernatural power have to show off here? The chubby girl said, that's right, be careful, later we'll force you to kneel down and lick my shoes. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning rushed over, dealing a fatal blow to the fat girl, causing her to scream in pain. Lin Feng said contemptuously, sorry, I just awakened my supernatural power. I haven't controlled my strength well. Quickly hand over all your trial points to me. Suddenly, the other 2 coquettish girls were about to take off their shirts, seductively saying, isn't it just trial points? Even if it's flesh, we can accept it. Lin Feng spat, contemptuously saying, don't insult my aesthetics, I'm not interested in trash like you. Seeing that, the 2 girls darkened their faces, quickly rushed forward and shouted in unison, attack. Sparks flew on the ground. The 2 of them rushed to where he was standing with ferocious gestures. They braked sharply, flying above the ground. Lin Feng watched them closely. The short-haired girl stretched out her hands. Her arms were as long as if they were rubber that could be stretched. She swung her hands and shouted loudly, take this. Her arms stretched out, twisting into the 2 walls that Lin Feng was standing inside, causing them to collapse into one. She shouted loudly, Yang Huan, don't play dead anymore, grind him to pieces. The blonde girl suddenly appeared with a big belly. She rushed over, shouting loudly. She rushed over, pressing her belly to the ground, causing the ground to shatter, then shouted gleefully, go to hell. Rocks flew everywhere, smoke and dust filled the air after her fall. The 3 of them finished and gathered in one place. The black-haired girl said, you're really tired of living, it's cracked like this, what should we do? One person suggested. Later we'll tell the teacher that it was done by a dire beast. Halfway through speaking, countless dazzling golden lights appeared from the cracks beneath their feet. The light combined to create a sky-shaking explosion, leaving only golden light around. Lin Feng jumped up from underground. His eyes had turned red. He said evilly, I gave you a chance, but you didn't know how to use it. The black-haired girl said in surprise, How are you still alive? The remaining two flew into the air, reassuring, Don't be afraid, let's go together. Lin Feng summoned the lightning around him. He laughed gleefully. The golden lightning shocked the three of them. The three of them twisted in pain. He floated in midair. Behind him was the power of lightning and the red sky. The three female students were falling powerlessly to the ground. He descended, slowly walked to where they were lying unconscious and said, This is the end for opposing me. He happily picked up his phone and took a selfie, saying, I have to post it online to congratulate myself. What title should I use to make them full of anger and hatred? A new post appeared on his personal page. The title was Sisters, this Lin Feng is awesome, along with a picture of the three dirty female students lying unconscious on the ground. Suddenly the system rang out, completed the mission, destroyed the flowers with ruthless hands and plundered points, successfully received 800 villain points. He looked at them and said contemptuously, Destroy the flowers with ruthless hands? Those three are considered flowers? Is there something wrong with the system? Lin Feng was walking on the forest path while thinking, I have to conserve my strength. I have to think of another way to earn trial points. It's best to catch a white wolf empty-handed. Suddenly under a big ancient tree were two students sitting, one purple-haired and one blonde-haired. Lin Feng immediately asked them coldly, Surrender and hand over half of your points, otherwise I'll make you taste the power of lightning. They asked in surprise, Lin Feng? The blonde-haired guy said, What are you relying on? He showed them the picture he had just taken and said, Of course I'm relying on the supernatural power in my hand, and the fate of these people. Seeing that, he quickly surrendered and compromised. Okay, we will give it to you, okay? At the same time, the system announced, successfully embezzled the points of classmates. Received 300 villain points. In addition, congratulations to the host for receiving the achievement blackmailing. He thought, blackmailing? What the hell is that? Open the system to try it out. On the virtual panel, his title has become blackmailer, and there is also a small note, through successfully deceiving others, the villain points received will increase by 20%. Lin Feng sighed. So that's how it is, the more evil titles there are, the greater the villain point benefits. This system is encouraging me to go down the path of blackening. I'm still 100 points short of drawing 10 consecutive draws. I have to think of a way to earn more. His villain points were now 1,500. The purple-haired guy threatened, Lin Feng, don't be too complacent, the class monitor will definitely deal with you. He immediately slapped him hard and said, Chu Haoyu? Sooner or later I'll beat him to death. As soon as he finished hitting, the system said, successfully avenged classmate. Received 120 villain points. He happily said, finally enough, this time I can draw enough 10 consecutive draws. Next is the moment to test luck. Lin Feng waved his hand, and countless blue panels appeared before his eyes. The scene changed to a room with a large electronic map installed on the wall and men in suits standing watching intently. They chatted with each other. Look, this must be the team of Suya and Chu Haoyu preparing to attack the boss. Her strength has always been in the top ranks among the students of this course. This time they must be very confident. A man in a gray suit said, Lao Ma, it seems that your class is going to be at the top again. I really admire that. A guy in a blue suit spoke up. No, it's all thanks to Su Haoyu and Chuya's hard work. The man named Ma thought, how can the final boss be so easy to deal with? This is what I prepared for Suya. He thought evilly, Suya, who told your Su family to always want to overturn the Lin family case. I'm just acting under orders. Suddenly someone shouted, look quickly, why is Lin Feng's score increasing so fast? Wasn't he still not awakened before? Why did he suddenly break into the top 5? Teacher Ma suddenly turned green. They are falsely accusing Lin Feng again. I think this kid must have used some despicable means to get the points. I really don't understand why the principal always protects him. It must be like that. This filthy thing, he can do any dirty tricks. Suddenly the system showed a card named Admonition Punishment. Its content was after equipping. You can punish the target. Abuse will cause danger. Please use with caution. Lin Feng said with satisfaction, although I didn't win a big prize, I got a pretty interesting item. He picked up the item and wondered, who should I use this prop on? Suya? I'm not so evil as to be inhuman. Or use it on Chu Haoyu, but it feels so disgusting. The system showed again, the host is considered an enemy, villain points increased by 100. The host is despised, villain points increased by 100. Lin Feng happily thought, I've received villain points again. It seems that those two posts have drawn hatred. On his phone were comments cursing him from netizens, saying he was a petty villain, shameless, unscrupulous, and everything else. Lin Feng came to a tunnel. It was dark inside. He calculated, Chu Haoyu's group must have entered the dungeon, then I should also go inside to find a good spot to observe. Wait for the boss to be about to run out of blood, then I'll make a move, kill it, and monopolize all the room. While groping his way in, he heard someone shouting, "Cheer up for me." Lin Feng was delighted in his heart. I found it. Inside was a large diamond-shaped screen emitting light and a group of people sitting on the ground. At the head of the group, sitting in the middle, was Chu Haoyu. He held a stick and ordered, "We're about to fight the boss. Now we have to discuss the tactics." He continued, "The boss is a lava hellhound of the 3rd level spirit level. Besides physical attacks, it will also release lava." He ordered Suya, "Suya, you have ice powers, you will be responsible for dealing damage." Chu Haoyu picked up the stick and drew an animal with 2 ears surrounded by a circle and explained, "At the start, I will make the boss hate me. Everyone will besiege and deal damage. If you need to dodge, then dodge. If you need to interrupt, then interrupt. Try to drain the boss's health bar in the shortest amount of time. The important thing is that as long as we unite and cooperate with each other, there will be no difficulties." He paused and asked everyone, "That's roughly it. Is there anything you don't understand?" Suya spoke up, "As long as you make the boss arouse hatred, then I have no more questions." Suddenly, a purple-haired girl sitting next to her burst into tears. Her whole body was covered in a golden light. Everyone shouted, "What the hell is going on?" Suya immediately reassured them, "Everyone, don't panic, she's just activating her supernatural power." The braided girl suddenly drew continuously with a pencil on paper, her eyes turning white as if she was using all her strength. Gradually, the image of a white wolf with fierce golden eyes chasing something appeared from the tip of her pen. Someone said, This is too vague. Is this lightning power?" Another person wondered, "It's different from the boss's attribute, right? The lava hellhound is a fire attribute." After finishing drawing, she let out a long breath. She explained, I don't know what I'm drawing either." Chu Haoyu observed from afar. He thought, "Zhao Ting's ability is quite impressive. For the Chu family's grand plan, it seems that I have to find a chance to deal with her. What a coincidence, my ability is the thunder attribute. It seems that this boss is as easy to eat as candy." He observed them from afar, thinking, "Zhao Ting's ability is not bad. It would be great if she could come and serve me." After a while, Chu Haoyu led the group. He shouted, "Prepare to attack." They stepped into the diamond-shaped gate. At the head of the gate was the head of a beast bearing its fangs fiercely. It was a giant wolf, surrounded by a red-orange flame and deep red eyes. Chu Haoyu spoke to direct, "Spread out everyone." And everyone moved quickly. He read the summoning command, "Diamond Body." A purple sphere enveloped Chu Haoyu. Looking at the giant fierce beast, he cursed inwardly, "Damn it, why is it different from what I expected? This boss's attack power is too terrifying." Suddenly a cold blue light like ice came over, distracting the boss. It turned out that it was Suya casting a spell. She shouted, "Frost language ice burst." Suddenly the wolf howled wildly, its neck raised to the sky as if preparing to use its power. As expected, it spat out a huge stream of fire, which could easily burn everything with the ferocity of the flame. Fortunately, Suya had erected an ice wall to protect herself. She defended while shouting, "Chu Haoyu, quickly make the boss hate you." He replied, "Okay, I know." After speaking, he rushed over with a layer of purple armor around him. He thought evilly, "Suya, later will be your time to die." Lin Feng was standing on a rock. Below was molten lava. He was secretly observing everything. He immediately raised his phone and said, "Chu Haoyu is clearly acting. I have to take a picture." At the arena, Suya had successfully frozen the boss, but Chu Haoyu still had not taken any action. She thought, "What is he doing? Oh well, I can only rely on myself." Then she swung her hand to the ground, creating a streak of cold ice in the middle of the fiery arena. The giant wolf was frozen stiff, unable to move, only able to bare its fangs in anger. Everyone cheered happily. "Suya is awesome, she didn't encounter any danger, we finally dealt with it." But Chu Haoyu standing behind smiled triumphantly, thinking, the good show is just beginning. Suddenly the boss's eyes flared up, and cracks appeared on the ice on its body. The giant wolf had broken through the outer layer of ice, causing the ice and frost built by Suya to shatter. Behind it, in addition to the fiery head, another head covered with ice appeared. The beast began to sweep everywhere, and desperate screams rang out around. Everyone was thrown into the air. The beast rushed over as if to swallow everything. Suya said in dismay, How is this possible? This aura is a military-level dire beast." She turned to Chu Haoyu and said, "Quickly help me deal with the boss. Everyone else retreat." He actually dared to shamelessly reply, "Sorry, this boss is too strong, I'm going to run first." He thought evilly, "Suya, you wait here to die, I won't wait for you." Then he ran away, leaving Suya only able to scream, "Chu Haoyu, you are a bastard." Lin Feng was watching the video of Chu Haoyu running away with his tail between his legs from afar. He was very triumphant. He thought, the excellent class monitor actually ran away halfway. What a shocking news. Behind Suya was the terrifying two-headed beast. She had been left alone, and she was shocked. The boss knocked her to the ground with its claws, causing Suya to cry out in pain. Her body was falling freely, preparing to fall into the abyss full of lava. Seeing this, Lin Feng was very flustered. He shouted loudly, Suya! But then he thought, no, if I save Suya, wouldn't I not be able to be a villain anymore? There's also the reward for killing the boss. Should I monopolize it? What should I do? Suya is about to. The beast roared angrily as if something was displeasing it. Suya was very surprised. Something had saved her from falling into the painful abyss. But at this moment, the beast rushed over, ready to pounce on Suya to destroy her. Lin Feng suddenly appeared. He gently flew down, using one foot as a foothold to prepare to launch a kick. He delivered a thunderous kick to the head of the beast. The soles of Lin Feng's feet flashed with angry lightning, as if all his strength was used to defeat the beast. The lava hellhound's fiery eyes raised its neck to the sky and roared, revealing its mouth full of sharp fangs. Suya fell to the ground, frightened and dazed. She could only stare at the dire beast several times, her size jumping up and rushing towards her. Lin Feng jumped up and kicked. Facing the dire beast, he was very small, but that kick was extremely powerful. Lin Feng smiled and said, since I'm already a villain, what else is there to choose? I want everything. Landing on the ground, he clapped his hands and called out, good dog, let me come play with you. That kick successfully drew its attention to Lin Feng, and it opened its mouth wide and ran towards him madly. Lin Feng quickly dodged, jumping behind it. In a suitable position, he gave a thumbs up and praised. Lin Feng pointed to the sky and shouted, 1,000 years of death. A powerful light shot out from the tip of his finger. The dire beast was furious, its eyes full of anger. After his 1,000 years of death hit the ass of the giant dog, the system quickly announced, your shameless behavior has aroused the dire beast's hatred. Received 300 villain points. Lin Feng glanced at it and said, this lava hellhound is really petty. It hates me for just a little thing. The second head of the dog roared angrily. In its mouth appeared an object ready to attack him. Lin Feng put his strength into his fist and confidently rushed forward. He punched upwards from below, hitting the dog's jaw, causing it to be thrown up. The dire beast rolled a few times and fell to the ground. Lin Feng thought that he couldn't prolong it any longer. The next blow must be fatal. But the boss's health bar was still not empty. It was really a headache. He suddenly remembered, that's right, don't I have a 10-fold supernatural power boost card? Use it to end everything. Lin Feng took out the card and waved it at the two-headed dog and said, good dog, the game is over. The two heads of the dire beast spat out two powerful blue and red energies towards him, attacking. Lin Feng calmly used the card to reflect the attack. The counterattack with double damage hit the body of the giant dog, causing it to fall back and roar in pain. The system announced that the lava hellhound had been defeated. A treasure chest appeared after he successfully killed the boss. Lin Feng opened the box and was surprised to discover there is actually an A-level awakening core. This is an important material for the breakthrough of transcendent beings. The rewards of the dungeon are really luxurious. After collecting the rewards, he looked at Suya, who was knocked unconscious by the dire beast and was leaning against a rock nearby. Lin Feng sat down and looked at her face and thought, this girl really likes to take risks. It's a good thing I awakened my supernatural power. His thoughts drifted back to his memories, the voices of the children calling, that evil girl is here again, run. The little Suya held a stick and stood in front of them with a fierce expression, challenging, if you want to get beaten, then come on. The boys ran away in fear, shouting, so scary. Little Lin Feng, who was beaten badly by the kids, sat on the ground pitifully calling, Suya. Growing up a bit, Haoyu and his friends still bullied him every day. He punched and shouted, Lin Feng, you're asking for a beating. Fortunately, someone stopped him. Stop. Suya appeared at the end of the alley and said, what's the point of bullying classmates? The people actually left. Before leaving, Haoyu left a sentence, always meddling. Back in the present, he slowly stood up in front of Suya and said, thank you for protecting me all this time, Suya, but from now on, I won't be afraid of being bullied anymore. It's just that I chose to follow the path of evil. If you get close to me in the future, I'm afraid you will be implicated. At this time, she slowly woke up. When Suya gradually opened her eyes, she saw a familiar figure gradually leaving. Suya asked herself, that is Lin Feng? No, impossible. On the way to leave, he saw the people who had been beaten unconscious lying on the road and said, the fact that you people can live is thanks to my blessing. You have to know how to repay a little. Lin Feng happily ran around them, picking up things and saying, your points are mine. At this time, Hao Yu led a group of men in black suits with worried expressions, hurriedly looking for him. A classmate said, Suya can't have anything happen. Otherwise the principal will blame me. I can't take responsibility. Another person comforted, don't worry, Suya's strength is top-notch in the school. Nothing will happen. He thought secretly, you guys wait to collect her corpse. From a distance, the group of teachers had seen their students lying all over the ground and panicked. How could this happen? One person shouted, quickly call the rescue team, quickly give first aid to the injured students. While shouting, the teachers helped the students up. Only Hao Yu with a fierce expression passed by without helping anyone. He frowned and searched around. When he saw Suya being knocked into a rock and fainted, Hao Yu was secretly happy. Suya died? That's great, it seems that the plan was perfectly successful. He immediately knelt down and covered his head, punching the ground and crying loudly, pretending to be very painful. I'm sorry to Suya, I'm sorry to everyone. Lin Feng stood aside with his arms crossed, leaning his back against the stone wall, ironically saying, my good class monitor, don't pretend to be in pain anymore. Hao Yu was startled and thought, Lin Feng, why is he here? The teachers heard his voice and turned around to ask, Lin Feng, why did you appear here? He quickly stood up and pointed at him, falsely accusing, it was Lin Feng who blocked the way, which caused us to fail to conquer the boss. Lin Feng coldly smiled and turned to ask, who said we failed to conquer? The boss's reward is already in my pocket. Then he held out his hand to prove it to everyone. A teacher did not believe it and asked, this is impossible, how could it be killed by you? Hao Yu was also surprised and thought, impossible, the boss was killed by Lin Feng? What the hell is going on? He continued to falsely accuse, you must have used despicable means to steal the boss's reward from Suya's hands. Without seeing him reply, the teacher repeated what he said before. This is impossible, how could it be killed by you? Faced with Hao Yu's malicious slander, Lin Feng did not refute, but said, dealing with dire beasts, you have to be unscrupulous and win, that's the key, and besides. Does it matter how I subdued it? He could only force a smile and comment, Lin Feng, you're really despicable. He darkened his face, clenched his fists, and restrained his anger, retorting, despicable? Being despicable is also a sign of strength. If you don't agree, then whatever. Tell me, is that right, class monitor who only knows how to run away? The teacher could not help but angrily point at Lin Feng's face and scold, run away? Lin Feng, you good for nothing, you dare to slander Chu Hao Yu. Hao Yu gritted his teeth and raised his fist, rushing forward and scolding, you little bastard. He thought, I absolutely can't let him tell what happened just now. He did not dodge, smiled confidently and waited for him. Chu Hao Yu, come on, I'm waiting for your punch. Ma Jia teleported from nowhere to between the two, using one hand to block Hao Yu's punch. He shouted angrily, why are you stopping me? I have to destroy him. He said coldly, the people from the protection department are here, don't ruin things because of impulsiveness. Lin Feng annoyed thought, too bad, otherwise I could have knocked Chu Hao Yu to the ground and beaten him up. The rescue team arrived and lifted Suya onto a stretcher to return. Seeing her frowning in pain, they told each other. Hao Yu retracted his hand and muttered, damn it. A woman appeared and said, the principal has said. The person who came was the head of the protection department, Jingwen. She pressed tightly on the sword at her waist and announced, everything that happened in this trial is valid, including the plundered points of the students. Someone shouted, what? There's a conspiracy. That's right, there must be some conspiracy. Another person continued, when did the principal start protecting Lin Feng? He noisily retorted, Department Head Jing, the decision is too hasty. This Lin Feng has always been destroying this trial. She only glanced at them and said, there are many variables in subduing dire beasts, you also need to be wary of your teammates. What you lost today is just points, in the future it may be your lives. Everyone present heard this and was afraid and dared not refute. Lin Feng crossed his arms and smiled lightly, a little disappointed. Actually, my performance in this trial wasn't very good, it's below expectations. He looked directly at the people who were his teammates and frankly criticized, the reason I got low points is because you people sitting here were unwilling to try hard. Those people heard this and cursed and wanted to rush over to beat him. This kid, does the principal still have the law? Shameless and unscrupulous, he stole our points and dares to say such brazen words. Regardless of the people who were shouting, don't stop me, I have to kill this little shameless bastard. Lin Feng only snorted and turned his face away. When Wei gave him a warning look, don't show off here anymore, leave before I can control the situation. Lin Feng waved his hand and happily left in the announcement of the system, despised by classmates, received 50 villain points, looked at with hateful eyes by classmates. Received 50 villain points. Back in the city in his room, he sat in front of the system eagerly saying, I've accumulated enough to draw times 10 so quickly, I have to quickly try my luck. A series of cards flew into the air, spinning around in front of Lin Feng. He drew a hidden purple card, and the system announced, congratulations to the host for receiving a 2-hour invisibility card. Lin Feng disappointedly sighed and thought, why is it still the lowest purple reward? When will it be gold? He pondered, there are still 500 points left. I have to quickly think of a way to earn more villain points. Suddenly an idea came to Lin Feng's mind. That's right, I can post the video of Chu Haoyu running away online. He immediately took out his phone. After the video was posted, it soon became a hot topic with the name, Cowardly Captain Abandoning Teammates. Quiet Mole commented, is this video real? Why do I feel like something is wrong? Hao's whitewashed wings, don't believe it, there are many edited videos these days. Lin Feng quickly replied to that comment, edited what? This video was filmed by Lin Feng, me. Blue Little Bird commented, what? Chu Haoyu is that kind of person? Hao's brainless fan account quickly retorted, what nonsense are you talking about? My Hao is not that kind of person. Blue Songbird sarcastically said, what's wrong, are you feeling sorry for your CCA? Hao's wings replied to him, this bastard Lin Feng. You're jealous of Hao, so you're trying to smear him. The person with the account Hao's wings was none other than Gigi. She shouted in the fan group, sisters, quickly control the comments for me. Gigi angrily had a determined expression, our mission is to regain the image for brother Haoyu. We also have to smear that bastard Lin Feng. Everyone in the fan circle quickly received the summons, some used phones. Some used computers. Su Huan, after seeing the post and Gigi's call, gritted her teeth and typed furiously on the computer. Before long, a series of new posts appeared with titles smearing Lin Feng, traitor's son Lin Feng, the despicable behavior of the thief Lin Feng, what qualifications does the pervert who steals underwear have to slander my CCA? After the posts were posted, the system announced, you are insulted by many people, received 10 villain points, your reputation on the internet has seriously declined. Received 150 villain points. He clasped his hands behind his head and happily thought, these smearing posts came at the right time. The villain points are enough to draw times 10. Once again, Lin Feng raised his hand to the sky and drew a card. He eagerly said, come on, where's my gold? Here it comes, gold. As soon as the words were spoken, Lin Feng successfully drew a gold card. The system congratulated. Host received a card for plundering through all worlds. Holding the card in his hand, he jumped up happily. That's great. With this card, Lin Feng thought, could it be like last time? I can transmigrate to another world to plunder abilities. Suddenly a light appeared, spinning around him. Lin Feng quickly fell into a forest. He looked up at the place where he fell and guessed, is this the world of One Piece? Without giving him time to rest, a group of people ran from a distance, shouting, run quickly, that killing star is coming. Save me. Behind the group of people was a giant shadow. While Lin Feng was still stunned sitting on the ground, the system sent a notification, checking the ability to reflect Gao Gui. Do you want to plunder? He quickly replied, stop talking nonsense. With such a good opportunity, of course I want to. As soon as the words were spoken, the killing star came right in front of Lin Feng. He lowered his body, touched the killing star's arm, and a stream of electricity quickly ran around his body. When the electricity gathered towards Lin Feng's hand, the system congratulated, the host successfully plundered, received S+ level ability, reflecting Gao Gui, preparing to transmit back. Its giant hand wanted to slap him flat. But before the killing star could touch Lin Feng, he disappeared in a flash of purple light, leaving only one sentence, thank you for giving me the ability, bye-bye. Lin Feng fell back into his room, his face landing on the ground, causing him to scream. He looked up at the system's notification and was stunned. What? Why is it in an unactivated state? The system explained, now the host is a primary awakener, you need to increase the level of the awakener before you can activate this ability. Hearing the system's explanation, Lin Feng happily felt lucky and took out a bunch of cards and said, so the level is not enough, fortunately I drew a bunch of experience cards before. He quickly used the card to level up to the intermediate awakener, and then to the advanced awakener in the system's congratulations. At that time, the system announced, the ability to reflect Gao Gui has been activated. Lin Feng smiled and thought, the new ability has been activated, tomorrow will be Chu Haoyu's Day of Doom. At Fengyun University, Haoyu angrily slammed the table and cursed, that bastard Lin Feng, he actually spread the story of me running away. I must destroy him. The people around him looked at him in fear and whispered to each other, this murderous aura is too scary, we have to stay away from him. A subordinate ran in from outside and shouted loudly, "How you see? How you see? I found that bastard Lin Feng." His face was fierce and he asked, "Really?" Then How you grabbed the subordinate's collar, causing him to be scared out of his wits. He dragged the guy out and said, "Very good, quickly lead the way." Lin Feng had just arrived at school when he heard the other students whispering, "Look, Lin Feng is here. I heard that many people were defeated by him during the trial." Some people avoided him like the plague. As soon as they saw Lin Feng, they ran away while shouting, let's go, don't get close to him, this guy." He wasn't sad at all, but rather satisfied and thought, "It seems that I have been treated as a villain." Suddenly someone blocked his way and called, "Lin Feng." How you led a group of people, lining up to block Lin Feng. He cracked his knuckles and gritted his teeth and said, "I didn't expect you to dare to come to school." He immediately provoked him, "You dared to show off here after deserting during the trial, so why can't I come?" How you was angered by Lin Feng and gritted his teeth and said, "Bastard, so that video was posted by you. Today if I don't cripple you, I'll change my last name to yours." He said contemptuously, "Anyway, I'm planning to kill you today. If you have the guts, let's go to the stadium for a duel." At the large stadium, Lin Feng and How you faced each other in the cheers of the students surrounding them. He said with murderous aura, "If you're so eager to find the way to the underworld, then I'll fulfill you." How you shouted and summoned the diamond body. He rushed towards him like a leopard. When How Yu's attack came down, Lin Feng sidestepped to dodge. He moved so fast that there was no afterimage, causing him to punch into the air. Lin Feng glanced at him and laughed mockingly, "You're too slow, weren't you saying you wanted to cripple me?" How you roared madly, "Lin Feng, you're asking for a beating." He swept his leg, but was quickly avoided by him. How you was both angry and surprised and thought, why did this good-for-nothing Lin Feng awaken such a strong ability? The students watching the battle began to comment, "He was originally such a despicable person. I really hope the class monitor can cripple him." Another person continued, "Lin Feng's tactics are really despicable, just dodging back and forth." How Yu's subordinates were even more enraged, secretly cheering, "Boss, quickly do your best to kill Lin Feng and avenge me." Suya slowly woke up on the white bed. She was still not fully conscious and said, "Where is this? Why am I in the infirmary? Where are the others?" The nurse came to change the medicine and happily asked when she saw that she was awake, "Classmate Suya, you're awake." Ignoring her injuries, she jumped up and rushed out of the room amidst the nurse's frantic cries, "Classmate Suya, you need to rest now to recover." Suya rushed out anxiously, muttering to herself, "I can't abandon them, I have to save them." Suddenly she bumped into the broad chest of someone walking in the opposite direction. The person she bumped into was the third young master of the Shin family, Shintian. He asked Suya, "Why are you out here?" Suya didn't answer Shintian's question, but hurriedly asked back, "How did the trial go in the end?" He recounted unhappily, "The trial was messed up by that bastard Lin Feng. He not only robbed the boss reward but also stole the points of other classmates." Suya asked in surprise, "Robbed the boss reward? Didn't Lin Feng not have any abilities?" Shintian replied, "That guy awakened his ability in the dungeon, and now he's extremely arrogant." Then, he took out his phone and showed it to her. "Look, Lin Feng is fighting with Zhou Haoyu in the stadium. I think he will definitely be taken care of," Suya said, staring intently at the phone. "What? Lin Feng wants to challenge Zhou Haoyu?" She thought worriedly about the image of the two of them. This is impossible. Without thinking too much, Suya threw the phone back to Shintian and ran off amidst his calls. "Suya, your injuries haven't healed yet. Where are you going?" She rushed out the door and replied, "To the stadium to stop them." Seeing Suya so worried about him, Shintian clenched his fist angrily, thinking, "That bastard Lin Feng, how did he fascinate Suya? I will definitely cripple him." In the stadium, Lin Feng and Hao Yu were still fighting fiercely, their light covering the entire arena. He angrily threw a punch that stirred up dust and rocks, but still missed him, and cursed, "Damn it." Lin Feng, while running around dodging Hao Yu's attacks, taunted, "This is completely unlike your strength in the dungeon, you ran so fast then." He retorted, "Bastard. If you have the ability, let's fight directly to decide the winner." His speed was so fast that he could only see afterimages. Lin Feng's insults echoed in Hao Yu's ears. "Don't you usually rely on the Zhou family's reputation to throw your weight around in school? You're actually just a useless piece of trash abandoned by the Zhou family." He couldn't control himself and roared angrily, "Shut up, you piece of trash." Shishi, leading a group of Hao Yu's fans, stood on the edge of the stadium cheering, "Go, go, Hao, beat him to a pulp. Lin Feng is a despicable villain." The system notification that he received negative value for being looked down upon and hated by his classmates made him happy to continue dodging Hao Yu's attacks. Lin Feng praised inwardly, "The audience is giving good feedback. I'll soon be able to draw a times 10. After a while of failing to hit him, he doubted himself. Could it be that I really can't beat him? How you struggled with his thoughts, could it be? I have to use that red pill. That was the pill that the people in the family gave him, saying, this pill can allow you to break through your realm in a short period of time, but remember, don't use it unless you are in dire straits. Without thinking too much, he quickly threw the pill into his mouth. Seeing this, Lin Feng was also startled and guessed, this is the forbidden drug of the Zhou family in the legends? In an instant, Hao Yu's body completely changed. The muscles on his body grew bigger, his fangs became longer and sharper, and his eyes were bloodshot with anger. Hao Yu glanced at him. He finally blocked Lin Feng. Hao Yu said, I've got you, you stinking rat. He looked at the punch about to hit his face and thought, I didn't expect him to keep up with my speed, quite interesting. Hao Yu threw punches continuously, angrily saying, pay with your life. After a while of only dodging and not attacking, Lin Feng finally decided to fight back. He smiled and said to him, is that all you've got? Now it's my turn to counterattack. Hao Yu attacked and argued with Lin Feng, my Vajra body has a high electrical resistance, don't even think about it. He smiled and gave him a surprise, who told you I would use lightning? Finishing speaking, Lin Feng launched his move, Chong Gao counterattack, full counterattack. Before him was a powerful green light that lifted Hao Yu's huge body into the air. He was restrained by Lin Feng and continuously struck on his body without being able to resist. After a while, he withdrew his move, and Hao Yu fell to the ground. Everyone watching, including his underlings, was stunned. The brain-dead fan group led by Shishi stared blankly and said, no, impossible, Hao Gij wouldn't lose. Lin Feng stepped on Hao Yu's chest, causing him to wince and groan in pain. He leaned down and looked at him mockingly, weren't you very imposing just now? Why are you like a dead dog now? Suddenly, Lin Feng sensed something. In his heart, he secretly shouted, not good, this killing intent. Lin Feng turned around and saw a figure somewhat resembling Hao Yu standing on the running track around the stadium. The person who came was the director of the Academic Affairs Office, Zhou Yan. He had been observing the match just now and thought to himself, Zhou Hao Yu drank that drug and still couldn't beat Lin Feng. Looking at Hao Yu lying on the ground battered and unable to get up, he thought contemptuously, look at your appearance, truly a piece of trash. Zhou Yan said coldly, attacking your classmates so viciously it seems you don't respect me at all. Lin Feng retorted, between us is a fair fight, it can't violate school regulations. Even while calmly responding to him, he wondered in his head, why is there such a strong killing intent? Could it be that Director Zhou wants to eliminate me? In an instant, he circled around Lin Feng and said, whether or not it violates school regulations is up to me to decide. This speed was too fast, causing him to be stunned. Zhou Yan looked at him sinisterly and thought, seed of the Lin family, pay with your life. He ran behind Lin Feng and began to unleash his moves. Lin Feng looked back at Zhou Yan and thought, this guy is not someone I can deal with right now. An attack of his, carrying earth and rocks, directly struck. Everyone around only saw a large explosion occur on the field. But surprisingly, this punch didn't touch Lin Feng at all, because Wen Wei had rushed forward and blocked in front of him, using two swords to block Zhou Yan's attack. She coldly looked at him in Lin Feng's astonishment. Zhou Yan said angrily, Dian Jing, wind can't cut through rock, are you here to throw your life away? Wen Wei challenged him without showing any weakness, who says so? Why don't you try it? Zhou Yan lifted his arm, which had turned into earth and rock, preparing to deliver a blow ability, rock control. She somersaulted and avoided a punch from him. Wen Wei dodged the large rocks falling around her. She channeled energy into her two swords and launched a counterattack ability. In an instant, the two swords spun, and many large rocks were chopped into pieces. Wen Wei jumped into the air and brought down a sword, slashing at Zhou Yan. He quickly used his hand, which had turned into stone, to block the blow. Lin Feng, observing the battle from a very close position, thought with admiration, precise control of ability and strong physical qualities, this is a battle between super prodigies. The mastermind who framed my parents is probably also a transcendent, it seems I have to level up faster. Suddenly, a pair of high heels carrying a red power appeared and said, have you made enough trouble? She just stood with her arms crossed between Zhou Yan and Wen Wei, but her power sent both of them flying away. The person who had just arrived was Lu Menglai. The onlookers saw her arrive and exclaimed, the principal is here too. He sat blankly on the ground and called inwardly, Sister Menglai. He pointed to Hao Yu lying flat on the ground and argued, Hao Yu was beaten into this state by Lin Feng, I am enforcing school regulations. He also jumped up and clarified, it is true that I wanted to cripple him, but who knew he couldn't beat me and use drugs in the open duel. Now he can't withstand the violent backlash of the drug. What does it have to do with me? She asked back. What drug? What drug did he take in the end? Zhou Yan prevaricated. That's asthma medication. Yes, Hao Yu has had asthma since he was a child. He thought to himself, I absolutely can't let her know about the forbidden drug. Zhou Yan ordered loudly, someone, quickly take Hao Yu to the medical room. At this time, Suya also ran to the stadium. She patted Lin Feng's shoulder and asked with concern, Are you okay? He turned around in surprise and said to her, What are you doing here? What could happen to me? I'm not as useless as you. Hearing this, Suya was stunned. Lin Feng, you. Menglai saw her and asked Suya, Why are you running out here instead of focusing on healing your injuries? Wen Wei, quickly take her back, don't embarrass yourself here. She accepted her orders and replied, Yes, fourth sis. Then, Wen Wei grabbed Suya's arm and urged, Let's go. She still clung on and called, Lin Feng. In Suya's heart, she was extremely unconvinced. So what if you awakened your ability? You useless awakened one. Before leaving, Menglai left a sentence, Lin Feng, come to my office for a visit. He sighed and thought, the principal's office, one troublesome matter after another. At the principal's office, she stood with her arms crossed by the window and began to lecture, Lin Feng, I know you just awakened your ability, but you can't force people like that. It has a bad influence. He sat casually on the sofa and argued, could it be that being cowardly like before, being bullied by others is good? Menglai said sternly, that's not right, and I won't let you be bullied by others. Lin Feng, both angry and aggrieved, slammed the table and questioned, what's the use of saying these beautiful words now? Where were you when I was being bullied before? Knowing that he was being unreasonable in his anger, he softened his voice and said, Okay, I know a big figure like you has your own considerations. She lowered her head and admitted, Indeed, I didn't do well before, and I don't expect to receive your forgiveness. I can only compensate you with a sum to express my apology. Lin Feng suddenly moved closer and asked, Then how is the great beauty Lu going to compensate me? His action startled her slightly. Menglai pulled open the drawer and searched while saying to him, I plan to arrange an ability test for you, fill out the information. She handed a stack of papers to Lin Feng and said, If there are results, I will send you corresponding upgrade resources. Lin Feng haggled, Only that? He sat comfortably with his legs crossed on the sofa and said, I don't need this little charity of yours, keep it for the good kids. In reality, Lin Feng wanted to conceal his trump card to avoid attracting the attention of others, and couldn't take this test. Menglai seriously reminded, Lin Feng, without the school's resources, it will be extremely difficult if you want to improve your realm. Lin Feng stood up and mocked, Not even enough to compensate Asuya, and you want to help me improve, what nonsense are you talking about? He walked out of the room, and before leaving, turned back and raised the ring in his hand and said to her, But I accepted this ring. Menglai leaned helplessly against her desk and said, This child is really. Her eyes fell on an object. It was a photo of Menglai and a woman. She said softly, Sister Yun, I'm sorry, I didn't take good care of Lin Feng, letting him misunderstand. Menglai looked up to the sky towards the deceased and muttered, Fortunately, Lin Feng awakened his ability. You can rest assured now. I will help him grow up to the point where he can receive the gift of the two of you. After leaving the principal's office, Lin Feng looked at the ring in his hand suspiciously. This is my mother's ring. Why is it with Sister Menglai? Could it be that she? He suddenly didn't want to think about it anymore. Forget it. Villains don't have that many emotional entanglements. On the school grounds, people whispered, Did you hear? Lin Feng crippled Zhou Haoyu. That's right, he was too cruel. Let's stay away from him. At the same time, the system announced, Host evil reputation spreads, increases 300 negative value. Classmates fear the host, increases 150 negative value. He thought smugly, not bad, my negative value has increased again. Suddenly, Lin Feng remembered the posts about himself on the forum and took out his phone. That's right. Let's see what they're saying on the forum. Titles like, Lin Feng shamelessly bullies a person with asthma. How you Gidge is so pitiful. I'm afraid the rest of his life he will be crippled. He thought happily, trash is trash. Even with drugs he couldn't win. But that drug was indeed quite strong. Suddenly, a set of fangs appeared behind Lin Feng and rushed towards him quickly. Sensing the danger, Lin Feng launched an attack that sent the dire beasts flying. After stabilizing their bodies, the two dire beasts stood opposite him with fierce eyes. They continued to pounce. Lin Feng wondered, this is a safe zone, why are there dire beasts? It seems someone is doing this on purpose. While the others screamed in fear, this is a dire beast, run. He stood still, controlling the lightning in his body and hesitating, should I take action here? A few brave people stopped and cursed him. Lin Feng, you jinx, you deliberately lured the dire beasts here, didn't you? A bald uncle chimed in, truly a jinx. No father, no mother. Lin Feng, do you want to harm us? He glanced at them and decided, usually you guys bully me, so today I will give you a lesson. The fat woman continued to shout, damn it, didn't you hear anything? Quickly take this filthy thing away from me. Her voice successfully attracted Lin Feng's attention. He decided, such a vicious attitude, then I will start with her house first. Lin Feng jumped high in front of the dire beasts. The two dire beasts turned their heads and quickly chased after him. When they launched their attacks, he quickly dodged, but one of these attacks struck straight into the fat woman's house. She hugged her chest and cried loudly, save me, my house. The uncle standing next to her quickly called for help. Hello, is this the White Tiger Legion? We are being ambushed by dire beasts. Where is everyone? Lin Feng jumped around the houses. The dire beasts followed him, destroying one house after another. He turned his head and looked at the destroyed houses, secretly pleased. At this moment, the system continuously sent notifications with the same content. Host is hated by neighbors. Increases 150 negative value. Lin Feng thought contentedly, give me more negative value. Amidst the cursing of the neighbors, damn it, my house. Lin Feng, you damn bastard. He continued to run ahead, luring the dire beasts. Finally, he landed in an old and deserted area. Lin Feng looked up and said confidently, alright, I've warmed up my body, it's time to send you on your way. Then he chose the mantis dire beast to strike first. Before long, Lin Feng had broken one of the dire beast's sides. He added a punch that sent it flying to the ground. The remaining dire beast did not wait long and attacked Lin Feng from behind. Using the scythe of the mantis dire beast in his hand, he stabbed it through the neck of the second dire beast, causing it to roar in pain. Lin Feng concentrated the electricity in his body. Then he launched a kick that sent the dire beast flying. Just as it fell, a group of people was flying towards this place at high speed from afar. Bai Ji, leading the group, braked in midair and wondered, didn't they say there were dire beasts? Why is someone stealing our credit? Lin Feng stood on the ground looking up at them and thought, they are people from the White Tiger Legion, temporarily avoid conflict with them. She landed where he was standing and asked, did you deal with the two dire beasts just now, right? Lin Feng calmly replied, what, do you want to arrest me for this? The fat woman saw someone come and began to act like a victim. Comrade, quickly arrest this jinx, he destroyed my house. He glanced at her and retorted, Big Mama. Your house was destroyed by dire beasts, what does it have to do with me? Baiji raised her hand and pounced towards Lin Feng. But instead of wanting to hit him, she just patted his shoulder excitedly and asked, do you want to join our White Tiger Legion's 4th Regiment, 3rd Team? Her actions surprised Lin Feng, leaving him gaping. She began to advertise, full insurance, room and board, 5 days off, travel, many benefits, year-end bonus doubled, and more importantly, you fight dire beasts very well. The people with her could only sigh and say, Leader Baiji is starting to lure guys again. That's right, this is the 3rd time this month. Baiji poked Lin Feng's back and asked with a squinting smile, what do you say, do you want to join? You won't find such good benefits and treatment anywhere else. He replied blandly, sorry, not interested. The fat woman continued to approach and urged her, comrade, please arrest Lin Feng quickly, he destroyed all the houses around here. Baiji looked at her coldly with tears in her eyes and said, don't nag anymore, I'm not your nan either. If your house is destroyed, go to City Hall, we are only responsible for eliminating dire beasts. Seeing this, the fat woman began to shout loudly, you are colluding with each other, I want to report you. When she raised her voice, the system quickly announced. The people slander the host and the Legion are colluding, rewarding 500 points of negative value. Seeing that the dire beast had been dealt with, the group from the White Tiger Legion launched their rockets and flew away. Baiji turned back and said, alright. If there's nothing else, he mocked himself, I'm already a villain, how can I join the Legion? Then Lin Feng turned back, now you're getting your retribution. She sat down on the ground, crying and acting like a victim, then cursed him. Lin Feng, may you be stabbed 1,000 times, sooner or later you will have a bad ending, my house. Scene change, in front of the operating room, 2 doctors stood respectfully before Zhou Yan and announced, the surgery was extremely successful. Although young Master Zhou's ability is gone, he is stronger now. He replied, you've worked hard. On the glass of the operating room, Zhou Yan's face full of hatred was reflected. He thought, how you, uncle can only help you fight for this far. In the future you must rely on yourself. Shintian called someone and asked, hello, how is it going? The other person stammered, no, it wasn't successful, The people from the White Tiger Legion came. I didn't dare to continue. Hearing this answer, he couldn't help but shout angrily into the phone, "You piece of trash. You can't even deal with someone who just awakened their ability. If you can't finish him, then don't come to school anymore." The person gripped the phone tightly. Behind the wall, watching Lin Feng, he made up his mind, "Tang Tang, Mao Mao, I will definitely avenge the two of you." When he arrived at school, everyone avoided him like the plague. They whispered, "That's Lin Feng, stay away from him. That evil person is here again." At the same time, a group of people lined up to block Lin Feng. Annoyed, he said, "What, does the saying a good dog doesn't block the road need me to teach you? If you have nothing to do, get out of my way." The person replied, "Lin Feng, the young masters have some grudges, and today they insist on having a showdown with you." The person blocking his way was Xintian. He threatened, "You are not allowed to go near Suya again, or I will cripple you." Lin Feng mocked, "You couldn't win her over. So you come here to cause trouble with me? You're tired of living." Xintian angrily ordered, "Damn it, get him. Chop off his limbs." Upon receiving the order, the bodyguards immediately rushed up. Lin Feng smiled confidently, thinking, "It's such a waste not to eat something that's offered right to your mouth." The muscular bodyguards approached, raising their hands to beat Lin Feng. He simply glanced at them and unleashed his familiar move, lightning. But Lin Feng suddenly realized. The people were unharmed. Xintian said smugly, "Are you blind, Lin Feng? What they are wearing is the latest insulated clothing researched and developed by the Shin Group. Even millions of volts are useless." Lin Feng said with a cold smile, "As expected, you came prepared." He arrogantly gave Lin Feng a condition, "If you agree to kneel down and lick my shoes now, maybe I will spare you a path to survival." When he was about to dodge their attack, Lin Feng suddenly panicked. "What's going on? Why has my body become so heavy? Could it be Xintian's ability?" Xintian roared extremely smugly, "Lin Feng, you didn't expect this, did you? My ability is gravity control." Then he continued to order, "The four of you, cripple him for me." They quickly replied, "Yes, young Master Shin." A burly man rushed forward and hugged him tightly, controlling him. Lin Feng quickly turned his mind to thinking of a way to break free. He thought, although Chong Gao counterattack will help me avoid injury, being hugged tightly by these muscular guys is not a good thing. Let's see if I can draw something good. The system immediately appeared before Lin Feng with a series of cards. The card he drew was Ability Magic Cube. Using the Magic Cube ability can enhance the characteristics of abilities, with random effects. Lin Feng calculated. Enhance characteristics, not bad luck. Then let's see what attributes it will add to the power of thunder. The system replied, control of the magnetic field. Seeing this answer, Lin Feng was quite satisfied. Control of the magnetic field, very good. I should find some lab rats to test this new effect on. Lin Feng shouted, and a light blue current of electricity radiated around him. The muscular man who was hugging him tightly said in panic, "Why do I have the feeling that I can't let go?" Xintian thought in surprise, why has the color of the electric current on his body changed? A series of cars and motorcycles suddenly flew towards this side. They piled up in a heap, emitting explosions that made him cover his face to avoid the heat. Xintian fell back in horror and stammered, This is impossible. My perfect plan has no loopholes." Lin Feng easily lifted the car with one hand. He said in a deep voice, "My ability is S-class. Do you and this trash deserve to come and cause trouble?" Xintian said fearfully, What do you want to do?" "Lin Feng, we are classmates." Lin Feng tightened the rope in his hand. He put on a fierce expression and said, "Take a guess." Xintian retreated in panic. He stammered, "Lin Feng, you don't come over here. I was wrong just now, forgive me, I really lost." Lin Feng swung the rope up. He replied fiercely, "Forgive you? The good show has just begun." The blows were unleashed continuously. Xintian screamed in pain. A current of electricity flashed through Xintian's body. He shouted loudly, "Don't hit me anymore, I beg you." Xintian hugged his head. He pleaded, "Please don't hit me anymore, give me a price, I will agree to any conditions." Lin Feng created a surge of energy in his hand. He replied, "Any conditions, these are your words." Lin Feng thought, this kid comes from the Shin group, I have to play him for a while. There's still a necklace left from the previous draw. Xintian looked up at what Lin Feng was holding. He stammered and asked, "What, a necklace? Can I exchange it for something else? This doesn't match my status. I'm afraid people will misunderstand." Lin Feng angrily lashed out at Xintian. He shouted, "Didn't you say any conditions are fine? You haven't had enough, have you?" He shouted painfully, "Enough, don't hit me anymore, I'll wear it, okay." Finishing speaking, the necklace was put on Shintian's neck. Lin Feng thought with satisfaction, this necklace is more useful than a talisman. It can be used for punishment based on intent. Scene changed to the school grounds. The voices of the female students' discussions rang out. Oh my god, how can they do that? This is too unreasonable. Suddenly, a group of people in black appeared. They shouted loudly, get out of the way, don't block the road, make way quickly. Shintian was crawling forward, with Lin Feng on his back. Shintian was so angry that tears welled up in his eyes. He thought, my life is over, all because of that bastard Lin Feng. The system's notification rang out. Host creates hatred, increases 50 negative value. A male student taunted, young Master Shin is really miserable, being played by Lin Feng like that, it's truly karma. But this kind of punishment is really humiliating. Suya witnessed everything. She wondered, Lin Feng, why is he like this? Suya came in front of Lin Feng. She said fiercely, stop, Lin Feng. Although Shintian is very annoying, how can you treat your classmates like this? Shintian's face turned pale. He thought desperately, what, the goddess, she actually thinks I'm annoying. Lin Feng frowned. He thought to himself, why is it her, she really gives people a headache. Lin Feng replied, this is what Shintian requested, if you don't believe me, ask him. As soon as he finished speaking, the ring on Shintian's neck tightened, causing him extreme pain. Shintian stammered, no, this is... Seeing this, Suya said angrily, Lin Feng, how did you become this kind of person? Lin Feng replied indifferently, I've always been like this, don't block the road, get out of the way quickly. She said blankly, you? Suya hurriedly turned around and ran away. A male student said sadly, how can you treat Suya like that, it's really too much. Another person continued, I really want to beat that bastard up. Scene changed to another place. A male student was being grabbed by the collar. He said fearfully, young Master Shin, I don't have anything of value, please spare me. Shintian frowned. He said fiercely, what, in just half a day, your group has spread rumors about me to this extent. The person stammered and asked, then young Master Shin, what do you want to do? Shintian replied calmly, want to do what? Collect protection fees for Lin Feng. The rules are the same as before. He pulled out a wad of money from his pocket, thinking to himself, so unlucky, I just gave it to Zhou Yuhao last week. Shintian turned to look at the group of male students standing next to him. He shouted annoyed, what are you looking at? You guys take out your money too. Scene changed to a classroom. Shintian placed a stack of papers on the table. He said softly, boss, I have collected enough protection fees from the people on the list. Lin Feng casually put his feet on the table. He replied with satisfaction, you've worked hard. He thought to himself happily, the feeling of revenge is really good. Lin Feng looked at the list and asked, very good, but you didn't ask for money from those poor people? Shintian replied, look at what you're saying, boss, how much can those poor people give? Scene changed to the school grounds. A voice of lament rang out, Zhou Yuhao just fell, and now there's a Lin Feng, our days are going to be difficult. A group of male students stood there. They cursed annoyedly, damn it, collecting our protection fees, I really want to beat that bastard up. But even Zhou Yuhao lost to him, can we? A scheming person said, if we corner him in that place and then take action, we'll have the right time, right place, and right people in our grasp, we can definitely take care of him. Another person agreed after hearing this, you're really resourceful, this method is good. Scene changed to the restroom. Lin Feng was casually walking in. Suddenly, two unfamiliar male students appeared behind him. A proud person challenged, Lin Feng, in such a narrow place, you won't be able to swing your arms and legs like last time, right? Another person chimed in, Lin Feng. This time even if you grow wings, it will be difficult to escape. Lin Feng pointed at the people in front of him. He said disdainfully, run? I alone am surrounding you, why should I run? Lin Feng loudly criticized, no matter how much trash there is, it's just a pile of trash. The male students were extremely angry upon hearing this. One person shouted loudly, let's go together, today we must beat him until he's near death. Lin Feng hit and broke the water pipe. Water splashed everywhere. The male students were frightened. He shouted loudly, not good, run quickly. Lin Feng showed a savage smile. He said, run? It's too late. The male students shouted desperately, no, I was wrong, spare me. Electricity blazed from the restroom. A scream rang out. The female students outside were curious when they saw this. What on earth are the boys doing in the restroom? Inside the restroom, Lin Feng had defeated everyone. The male students weakly groaned. Lin Feng raised his phone and took a picture. He cursed, a bunch of idiots. Suya scrolled and saw the picture that Lin Feng had just posted. Her face darkened. Suya cursed inwardly. Lin Feng is an idiot. She slammed on the table and stood up abruptly. Suya thought, no, tonight I must find Lin Feng and have a serious talk. I can't let him continue like this. Everyone around was surprised by her. Lin Feng lazily lay on the bed. Suddenly the system's voice rang out. Host title as Restroom War God is spreading. Congratulations on receiving 300 points of negative value. Lin Feng said helplessly, Restroom War God, what the hell kind of title is that? He suddenly saw a message appear on the screen, meet Lin Feng. He thought to himself, this is. He was so surprised that he jumped up. Lin Feng thought, evidence that can prove my parents' innocence. Is it that easy? He frowned, feeling hesitant in his heart. Could this be a trap? Forget it, let's go meet this mysterious person anyway. Lin Feng went to the meeting place alone. His face darkened. Lin Feng told himself, this is very likely a trap, but the matter is related to the unjust case of my parents. I absolutely can't give up. Suya hid behind the building and watched Lin Feng. She was surprised and thought, why is Lin Feng going out at this hour? What does he want to do? Scene changed to inside the forest. He squatted behind the tree. Lin Feng opened his phone. He quietly read the message. Lin Feng clenched the phone in his hand. He thought, he actually knows I'm hiding behind the tree. What a cunning guy. He stepped out of the forest. Lin Feng glanced at Suya hiding behind the tree. He wondered, why is Suya following me at this moment? A light blue aura appeared, and a figure gradually emerged. Lin Feng looked at the man in front of him. He thought in surprise, it's teacher Ma Jia. Why is it him? Ma Jia leaned leisurely against the tree behind him. He said arrogantly, so you care about that case so much. Lin Feng angrily shouted, my parents are innocent. Why did those people want to harm them? Ma Jia said loudly, the reason they harmed your parents was to obtain Fengyun University. It's just a pity. Fengyun University fell into the hands of the Lu family. Hearing this, Lin Feng frowned. He thought, what? It was because of Fengyun University, and the principal also. Lin Feng suddenly remembered the past. His father's voice rang out, in the future, no matter what happens, you must be strong. His mother then continued, remember. When you grow up, go to study at Fengyun University, that is the school that your parents prepared for you. He hugged his mother tightly, crying and replying. I know. Ma Jia leaned close to Lin Feng's ear. He said, seeing how pitiful you are, I'll tell you who the mastermind behind that case is. Finishing speaking, Ma Jia pulled out a knife. He rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly teleported behind Ma Jia. He said calmly, as expected, you are in cahoots with the people who harmed my parents. He glanced slightly, thinking to himself. I can't believe I couldn't fool him. Ma Jia laughed loudly and said, I didn't expect you to be so smart. His face looked extremely sinister. Ma Jia said smugly, so what? Anyway, you have to lose your life here tonight. He immediately shouted loudly, come out, my Xiao Tian Tian. Finishing speaking, a dire beast appeared. It reached its hand towards Lin Feng. He said inwardly, this dire beast must be warlord level. A blue sphere enveloped Lin Feng's body, protecting him from Tian Tian's attack. He observed Ma Jia standing in front and wondered, Ma Jia's ability, could it be to control dire beasts? He shouted arrogantly, Tang Tang, Mao Mao, and also Wang Kai, today I will definitely take the life of this kid, avenge you. Lin Feng suddenly remembered, he replied, so the previous attack by the dire beasts was also at your command. Ma Jia then ordered, Xiao Tian Tian, take his life for me. At this moment, the vines also rushed straight up. Suddenly, two strong women's hands touched the ground. Suya blocked in front of Lin Feng. She shouted loudly, ice ceiling barrier. Seeing this, he was shocked. Tian Tian and the vines were instantly frozen. Lin Feng muttered to himself, Suya really couldn't hold back and took action. How troublesome. But, her formation is really beautiful. Seeing this, Ma Jia shouted angrily, Suya, very good, I didn't expect you to come here too, then let's settle the score from the last trial dungeon all at once. Suya replied assertively, the last beast training was a scheme caused by you. He roared, so what if you know? Anyway, both of you must lose your lives here tonight. The vines rushed towards Suya. She then raised both hands and deployed her ability. A tall ice pillar appeared, blocking the attack from the vines. Lin Feng also unleashed a punch covered in lightning. He punched hard into Tian Tian's body. It fell backwards. Ma Jia's voice rang out, useless, useless, useless. Xiao Tian Tian has an insulated skin. Your lightning ability can't hurt it at all. Lin Feng cursed inwardly. Damn it. Lightning has no effect on it at all. He glanced at Suya and asked, can you help me stall them for a moment? She was a little embarrassed and stammered, I will try. Lin Feng's body gradually upgraded. The system's voice rang out, Congratulations to the host for breaking through to Intermediate Spirit Starter. He turned his chin and thought, Intermediate Spirit Starter still can't break through the defense of the dire beast. Lin Feng muttered, the strength of the Intermediate Spirit Starter can't completely blast the dire beast to death. I still have to combine it with the ability. The system screen appeared before his eyes. The card Plunder Through Myriad Worlds appeared. Lin Feng excitedly thought, it's here, Golden Legend, what perfect timing. He held the card in his hand and showed a cunning smile, then said, let's see where I'll transmigrate to this time. He disappeared in an instant. Lin Feng thought in surprise, where am I? He raised his head and looked at the scene in front of him. Lin Feng thought, I came to the Xianxia world. At this time, 2 Xianxia cultivators were fighting in the air. He shouted loudly, swords, come! As soon as he finished speaking, countless swords appeared. Lin Feng said, wealth is found in danger, of course I'm plundering the ability, how can you not need it? The system suddenly sent a notification, checking for the Limitless Sword Heart ability. Do you want to plunder? He replied excitedly, such flashy sword control techniques, how can I miss it? Lin Feng touched the Xianxia cultivator. The system then announced, congratulations to the host for plundering a new ability, Limitless Sword Heart. He muttered, success. Suddenly, countless swords rushed towards Lin Feng. The spirit was very frightened when it saw this. It shouted loudly, I'm done for, I have to get out of here quickly. Those swords still kept rushing up, but he had disappeared in time. Scene changed back to the forest. Small pieces of ice were frozen on the ground. Suya gasped for breath. She thought, why did Lin Feng suddenly disappear? Could it be that he? Ma Jiao then said sarcastically, what a pity, Lin Feng actually directly sold you out. If I can't take his life, then I can take yours. He said fiercely and then ordered, Xiao Tian, take her life for me. It immediately attacked Suya. She was hit and shouted out in pain. Suya crashed into the tree behind her. She thought, this dire beast is too strong. Lin Feng suddenly appeared. He used a blue sphere to wrap around her body. Lin Feng quickly blocked the attack from Tian. Suya asked in surprise, Lin Feng, why did you come back here? She thought, why do I feel like Lin Feng has become stronger again? Lin Feng glanced at Suya. He said confidently, of course I came back to deal with these 2 pieces of trash. Ma Jia swallowed a pill. He said schemingly, it's good that you came back. It's just right to eliminate both of you. Ma Jia's body then became stronger, from advanced spirit starter to initial transcendent. Suya said hesitantly, isn't that the forbidden drug that Zhou Yuhao once took? Lin Feng snorted and continued, as expected, he is with the Zhou family. Ma Jia said arrogantly, I forgot to tell you. I am the possessor of dual abilities. In addition to controlling vines, I can also communicate with dire beasts. Lin Feng replied with a contemptuous tone, abilities are also divided into 3, 6, 9 levels. You have only learned a new foreign language. What's so amazing about that? Ma Jia scolded angrily, this foul-mouthed person. He and the vines rushed forward. He ordered, Xiao Tian, let's go together, take the lives of this dog couple. Lin Feng was now deep in thought. The basic characteristic of Limitless Sword Heart is object control. Let's feel the surroundings first. He shouted, swords, come. Countless swords flew up. They rushed straight forward. Those swords gradually appeared from behind Lin Feng. Suya said in surprise, this isn't the lightning ability. Ma Jiao then became fearful. He said hesitantly, no, impossible. How can you be a dual ability awakened? Lin Feng then replied, who told you I am a dual ability awakened? You are a frog at the bottom of a well who only knows how to learn foreign languages with dire beasts. Go to hell. Countless swords rushed towards Ma Jia. He shouted, Xiao Tian, save me. Its body shattered into pieces. Lin Feng gradually became exhausted. He thought, I only used one move. Why does my body feel like it's been drained of its strength? The spirit shook his head vigorously, saying, Host, you are now only an intermediate spirit starter, controlling so many flying swords in an instant. Of course your body can't handle it. Ma Jia waved his hand and controlled the vines to break out of the ground, laughing wildly and bitterly saying, You're exhausted, then go to hell for me. Lin Feng reached out. A wooden stick flew from the side towards him, gritting his teeth and thinking, just a little bit more, I absolutely can't fall here. Thinking this, he held the branch firmly in his hand, and using momentum charged towards Ma Jia. He was like seeing the funniest thing in the world. He constantly laughed loudly, saying, It's so funny, you want to eliminate me with a wooden stick, have you gone crazy? But Lin Feng lightly passed by Ma Jia like a breeze. The wooden stick seemed to have no danger at all, but in his hand, it carried a strong spiritual power. In just a blink of an eye, it pierced through his body. Blood spurted out like a spring. Ma Jia hugged his chest. His eyes rolled back. His expression was unbelievable. He opened his mouth wide but could only utter incoherently. Lin Feng didn't look back, only said indifferently, "Who said it was a wooden stick?" Unable to take his life, he slowly raised his head, but suddenly felt weak all over. At this moment, Suya hurriedly ran over. She saw Lin Feng staggering and about to fall, and called out worriedly, "Lin Feng!" Suya managed to catch him just before he fell to the ground. Lin Feng fainted in her arms, his face accidentally touching Suya's soft and full breasts, causing her face to flush red. Suya hugged him, thinking shyly, what to do, Lin Feng is actually so close to me. But she quickly regained her composure, thinking, forget it, I'll take him back first. Scene changed to a bedroom full of sunlight. Lin Feng lay naked on the bed, covered only by a thin blanket. The sunlight shone on his face, causing Lin Feng to cover his eyes. He tilted his head and looked around, saying confusedly, why am I here? I remember. Lin Feng sat up abruptly, looked down at his naked body, and exclaimed in shock, and why have my clothes been changed? He took the blanket and covered his lower body, stood up and wanted to find clothes to wear, but unexpectedly saw Suya sitting at the end of the bed. She saw Lin Feng wake up and quickly turned her face away, smiling and saying, Lin Feng, I'm sorry, your clothes need to be washed. Then she couldn't help but blush and praise, your body is so sexy. He didn't say anything and reached out, using his ability to make Suya fall into a deep sleep immediately. The system immediately jumped out to announce, bullying a cute girl. Negative value increased by 250. After a while, she rubbed her eyes and woke up, with saliva still on the corners of her mouth. Lin Feng asked him politely with a teasing tone, what obscene dream did you just have? Suya replied blankly, no, nothing, just a normal dream. He didn't let go and continued to ask, then why did you change my clothes? She lowered her head, blushed and said stammeringly, those clothes were stained with blood. I conveniently washed them for you. An awkward atmosphere immediately spread out. Lin Feng lowered his head and sat on the bed without saying a word. Suya suddenly exclaimed, oh Lin Feng, why is this place of yours swollen? Her eyes were fixed on the part of the blanket that bulged between Lin Feng's legs. Then Suya rushed forward and wanted to lift the blanket to see, asking worriedly, could it be that you had internal injuries last night? He panicked and shouted, you stop for me. Not only did she not stop, but the action of pulling the blanket was even stronger, and her tone was extremely determined, saying, let me see, I'll just look and you won't lose any meat anyway. Immediately after that, the sound of Suya exclaiming loudly rang out in the room, this is, Lin Feng, you pervert. Lin Feng said helplessly, it's because of you. Don't blame me. Seeing that she was already embarrassed, he unhesitatingly began to retaliate, saying loudly, who was it just now who was dreaming that my body was sexy? Give me your hand. Touch it yourself. Suya shouted, damn it, I didn't say that. Too hard. The system sounded in Lin Feng's head again, checking that the host is misunderstood by a female student as engaging in perverted behavior. Negative value increased by 200. Scene changed to Fengyun University. At this time Suya and Lin Feng were going to school together. She walked a few steps ahead, without even looking at him. Only said softly, Lin Feng, I'm sorry about just now. Lin Feng's face was imprinted with 5 hand marks that were still red and swollen. He frowned and replied, it's okay, just listen seriously in biology class in the future. Suya's cheeks flushed again. In the school now there was a crowd of students gathering in front of the building of the board of directors, loudly questioning each other. Ma Jia just died inexplicably. Does the principal want to cover up the suspect? That's right, today she has to give us an explanation. No one will leave until she tells us clearly. That's right. We must bring the murderer to justice. Meng Lai hurriedly stepped forward, appeasing, everyone be quiet. I am also very sorry that teacher Ma Jia had an accident, but until now everything is still in the process of investigation. I hope everyone is not excited. At this time, Lin Feng and Suya stepped forward from afar. Someone in the crowd shouted, he's here. Zhou Yan pointed straight at his face and shouted loudly, Lin Feng, you are the murderer who hurt people and still dare to come to school. A male student in a white shirt stood next to him, also pointing at himself, and said loudly, I can testify, last night when teacher Ma Jia left, he mentioned your name. Lin Feng laughed mockingly and said, can you guys not spit blood on people? Last night I was always at home. Speaking of which, whoever contacted teacher Ma Jia the most last night is also very suspicious. Then he tilted his head and looked at Zhou Yan, smiling and asking, Director Zhou, do you dare to take out your phone for everyone to check? He was stunned for a moment, when Lin Feng asked him directly. Like that. Zhou Yan was sweating profusely, coughed slightly, and said awkwardly, I was at the Zhou family last night. There is no evidence that I was at the scene. After he finished speaking, he turned around and questioned Lin Feng. If you say you were at home, then who can prove it? The crowd around immediately chimed in, saying, that's right. Who knows where you were last night? Is there anyone who can prove it? Who can prove it? At this moment, Suya standing next to him said loudly with a red face, I can prove it. She stepped forward, took Lin Feng's hand, and said shyly, I can prove for Lin Feng. I was always at Lin Feng's house with him all night. The whole school exploded. The male students shouted in shock, What? Goddess Su, she was actually at Lin Feng's house all night. Some even said in disbelief. Our school beauty must have been blackmailed by Lin Feng, so she was forced to say that. Suya turned her head to look at Zhou Yan, and asked softly, Director, a man and a woman are in the same room, what do you think they can do? Lin Feng was also made red-faced by her words. The crowd became even more panicked. Some male students hung their heads and screamed, Oh my god, how can this be? Some cursed angrily, that damn Lin Feng. How can he be like this? Zhou Yan was asked by Suya. His face suddenly darkened, he gritted his teeth and thought, damn it, this bitch is actually protecting Lin Feng so much. Lin Feng suddenly reached out and hugged Suya's waist, forcefully pulling her closer to him. He looked at the people in front of him, smiled and said, We are old enough, do we have to ask for permission from the Education Bureau to do anything? The system jumped out with 2 announcements at the same time. Host is misunderstood as teasing a beauty, receives 200 negative value. Suya's reputation is damaged because of the host. Receives 250 negative value. Lin Feng was secretly pleased in his heart when he heard this, thinking, this group of simp lords are really easy to fool. Meng Lai, who had been listening to everything, now said with a gloomy face, Director Zhou, let this matter stop here. I will investigate the truth of everything later. Zhou Yan disagreed, and shouted loudly, I think you want to cover up the real murderer. He turned to his students, snorted coldly, and said angrily, let's go. In the operating room, the forensic doctor held the autopsy report in his hand and said to Zhou Yan, who was covering his nose beside him, Director Zhou, we have checked carefully, the victim was stabbed in a sensitive area by a strong sword chi, which caused his death. He nodded slightly, and said in a deep voice, okay, you have worked hard. Zhou Yan frowned tightly, and his brain began to speculate non-stop, strong sword chi, could it be done by Jingwei? That's not right, Jingwei also has an alibi. Could it really be done by that kid Lin Feng? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel. But a person who has just awakened his ability for a few days, can he really have the ability to kill Ma Jia? At the same time, in the principal's office, Meng Lai angrily slammed the table and shouted, Suya, how can you joke like that? She looked at Suya, who was sitting in front of her with her head down, her anger still undiminished, and said loudly, you should have reported to me immediately if something like last night happened. Suya didn't dare to look at Meng Lai, and said softly, I didn't think that much at the time. Meng Lai had no choice but to sigh, and said softly, I can't blame you for what happened suddenly, go to class. Just leave the next thing to me to solve. Suya obediently listened and stood up, nodding and said, yes, auntie. Meng Lai bit her lip tightly, and worriedly thought, I didn't expect Ma Jia to hide so deeply. How many informants are there in this academy? Could it be that the Zhou family wants to act first? If so, I can't continue to wait. She turned to Wen Wei, who had been standing motionless next to the desk, and said softly, the plan has changed, you go to find Lin Feng. Wen Wei immediately replied, yes, principal. After she left, Meng Lai took out her phone and made a call, exchanging softly, hello, is this the publicity department? Quickly post teacher Ma Jia's obituary. Focusing on publicizing the fact that he bravely sacrificed his life to protect the surrounding people. The other end of the line replied, yes, principal, I will do it right away. Scene changed to the training ground. Wen Wei was holding 2 swords and standing in place, ready to fight. Lin Feng was holding a long iron stick in his hand, and was rushing towards her. He swung the stick up and slammed it down forcefully. Even though she had taken out 2 swords to block it, Wen Wei was not Lin Feng's opponent at all at this time. With just this one blow from him, she was sent flying back. Wen Wei, while starting to protect herself, said, I remember you just awakened a few days ago. The speed of growth is so fast is really shocking. Lin Feng said smugly, the growth of genius will always refresh the cognition of mortals. She was ready again, and said coldly, I wanted to praise you a few words, but I didn't expect to be complacent. It seems that I have to hit you a few times today. Wen Wei's eyes gradually became serious, and she began to really consider Lin Feng as her opponent. She mobilized spiritual power, and slashed out several consecutive sword strokes. The sharp sword energy with the element of wind was like flying knives flying towards him. Wen Wei looked at Lin Feng busily leaning to the left, and dodging to the right, provoking and asking, "What's the matter? Can you only endure that much?" He rushed forward with thunder and lightning power, raising the iron stick high, and said while dodging the wind blades, "Later Ding Jing will know my power." Lin Feng quickly approached her, the iron stick pressed tightly on Wen Wei's two swords below. She was gritting her teeth while resisting and thought, "This kid is actually so strong. No wonder the young lady wanted me to test his ability." Wen Wei took a few steps back, and used two swords to chop out a few lines in succession, and while comparing moves, she criticized loudly, "Didn't you pay attention when you learned swordsmanship? These moves are too rough." Lin Feng met the move and resolved the move, without flinching, and replied, "It's just superficial, but it's enough to deal with you." She frowned, turned around and chopped down another sword, saying, "Then today I will supplement your swordsmanship." This move of Wen Wei's is called Sword for Wind. As soon as it was chopped out, a strong wind immediately rose up, blowing straight towards Lin Feng, making him unable to move at all. Lin Feng thought in surprise, "I have to think of a way. I can't let her continue to summon and control wind blades." Thinking this, he quickly used the power of thunder and lightning. The golden light covered his whole body. Lin Feng somersaulted and avoided Wen Wei's control. His thunder and lightning also shot straight into the tornado she created. At this time the tornado was stronger than before. Everything on the road of the tornado was rolled into it. From small things like garbage, soda cans, to even a bicycle was sucked in. The tornado was infected with thunder and lightning, and its power immediately doubled, and it became even more rampant, and swept away everything. Wen Wei looked at it in surprise, thinking, "It's really strong. How many kinds of abilities did he awaken?" Lin Feng took advantage of the fact that she was still stunned, and immediately mobilized the energy of thunder and lightning, and thought while rushing over, "Good opportunity. The next move will determine the outcome." In a minute of carelessness, Wen Wei missed the opportunity to block his attack, and was immediately approached by Lin Feng. His iron stick was close to her body. Lin Feng stopped in front of Wen Wei's sword tip. He looked up at her, grinned and smiled, and asked, "Ding Jing, this is considered a draw, right?" Wen Wei glanced at the iron stick that was about to touch her face, and snorted coldly in response, "I didn't expect to fall into your trap in the end." The competition ended there. She stood in front of Lin Feng, and said slowly to him, "This is a trial arranged by the young lady. You performed quite well." Wen Wei turned around and left, not forgetting to turn back and tell Lin Feng, "Let's go, the young lady has a few words to say directly to you." He grinned and replied cheerfully, "Okay, it was really arranged by Sister Lu, I guessed it right." Lin Feng thought at this time, but the body is often exercised. His eyes were fixed on Wen Wei's hourglass figure, and he couldn't help but think, "It's tight." At this moment, she suddenly turned around and looked at Lin Feng, coldly asking, "What are you looking at?" He waved his hands in a hurry, smiling, and said, "I didn't look at anything." Wen Wei didn't believe it, but didn't say anything. She just frowned, and thought uncomfortably, "This Lin Feng is really just like the rumors. A lecherous person who doesn't know how to restrain himself." Lin Feng's system immediately showed a notification. The host is misunderstood as a shameless pervert. Receives 250 points of negative value. He was not satisfied, and questioned the spirit, "Is there a problem with your system's settlement? Why did I become a villain just by looking at it once?" It replied comfortably, "The system has its own judgment standards. As long as the conditions are met, it can be settled." Scene changed to Suya. She was now wearing tight-fitting sportswear, covered in sweat, and constantly opening her mouth to breathe heavily. Suya's whole body was covered in a gentle blue light, but she looked like she was very hot now, and also very tired. Suya exhausted and called out softly, closing her eyes tightly. She was in an experimental environment. The temperature around her was constantly increasing, and Suya had to constantly transfer her lightning energy to the ice sheet in front of her. She felt a little unbearable and thought, "It's too hot. I feel like I can't bear it anymore." Outside where Suya was standing were Meng Lai and the researchers who were watching intently. A man turned to Meng Lai and asked, "Principal, do we need to stop the experiment? The temperature inside is nearly 200 degrees Celsius." She didn't blink her eyes once, and said lightly, "No need, add 10 more degrees Celsius." After saying that, Meng Lai thought, the flower that grows up in the greenhouse is really too lacking in training. Inside, Suya gasped, and felt uncomfortable with the burning heat, and thought, "What's going on? Why is the temperature getting higher?" Suya gritted her teeth, and tried to endure, wanting to release the energy in her body to make herself less uncomfortable. And after a long time like this, finally a white light suddenly flashed. From her body, a strong blue light radiated out, quickly covering everywhere. Manglai looked dazed, and the scientists standing around her all showed joy on their faces. Some were clapping, and some were jumping up and down with joy. Mangli's eyes looking at Suya also added a few points of pride and joy. Leaving the laboratory, Suya wiped her sweat and walked side by side with Manglai on the hallway. She suddenly turned to ask her, "But what is Lin Feng's strength? Have you found out?" Suya hesitated slightly and then replied, "Lin Feng's strength, I'm not very clear. But he can always find a way to break this situation whenever he falls into a dead end." Manglai lowered her eyes and said slowly, "It seems that I have been too protective of you before. If you don't face the danger directly, you can't really grow up." Arriving in front of the principal's office, the two met Wen Wei and Lin Feng, who were standing and waiting. Lin Feng was slightly surprised, thinking, "Suya, why is she here?" Suya was stunned when she saw him, and wondered curiously, "Lin Feng, why is he here?" She walked closer to him, looked at Wen Wei behind him, and asked softly, "Lin Feng, the two of you?" The hand holding the towel to wipe the sweat was slightly clenched, and Lin Feng at this time couldn't stop staring at her full chest. His face blushed slightly, and he thought lecherously, "This girl Suya always dressed conservatively before, but I didn't expect her to have such a hot body." Suya recognized Lin Feng's eyes, and instinctively took her hand to cover her chest, and the other hand was not idle, but prepared a slap for him. She shouted loudly, "Lin Feng, where are your eyes looking?" He quickly grabbed her wrist, and called out, "Xiaoya, wasn't the slap in the morning enough?" Wen Wei's eyes in the back became even colder. She thought, "This kid is really just like the rumors, a pervert." Manglai poked her head out from behind Suya, and said sternly, "Can the two of you not be so childish? Aren't you already together?" Suya said in a flustered voice, "Auntie, that's a misunderstanding." Manglai coldly dismissed it. "I don't care what the misunderstanding is. Wen Wei, you take Suya back first. I have something to say to Lin Feng." Wen Wei immediately stood up straight and replied yes. Leaving the two of Wen Wei and Suya on the hallway, Manglai stepped straight towards the office, and said to Lin Feng, "Lin Feng, follow me." Suya watched the figures of the two walking away, and worriedly thought, "It's so late. Why did Auntie call Lin Feng over? Could it be the matter of Ma Jia has not been settled yet?" Manglai didn't say anything and went straight in. When she entered the room, she turned her head slightly, and said as if ordering Lin Feng, "Close the door and turn off the lights." He reached out and flicked the switch lightly. The lights in the room went out immediately. The moonlight from the outside shone into the room through the window, illuminating half of Lin Feng's face. He said with a somewhat sarcastic tone, "Principal, a man and a woman are in the same room and the lights are turned off. It's not good if this gets out." Manglai called out dissatisfied, "Where did your kid think? There are usually very few people who come here. There will probably be no one eavesdropping." She had already sat down in front of the desk at this time. Lin Feng approached and asked, "Say it, Principal, what do you want to say by calling me here after all?" "Let me tell you first, my time is very precious." Manglai crossed her arms in front of her chest, looked up at him, and said, "You are still so nonchalant at this moment. Don't you know that you have been targeted?" Lin Feng looked indifferent, and replied, "Targeted? Maybe someone really thinks that I have become stronger recently, so they are very unhappy, and want to find trouble." Mangli's face immediately became unhappy. She frowned, and shouted loudly, "Lin Feng, the matter of your parents is related to many people. This is not something you can deal with." Lin Feng also shouted loudly back, "It is very normal for me to clear my parents' names. What right do you have to teach me here? It was in vain that my mother supported you before, but you have always stood by and watched." Manglai couldn't bear it when she heard this, and snapped, "Shut up." She stood up abruptly, and the hand hanging beside her body was also clenched tightly. Manglai said loudly, "There is no one in this world who wants to compensate for the injustice to Sister Yun more than me." She looked at Lin Feng. Her eyes were filled with sadness and mixed with disappointment. Manglai said softly, "How could you say it?" At this point, her whole body suddenly fell backwards, with a tear still on her cheek. Lin Feng rushed forward, and managed to support Manglai before she fell to the ground. He called out flusteredly, "Sister Lu." Lin Feng looked at Manglai, and thought somewhat confused, could it be that my words just now stimulated her? He carefully observed her complexion, and suddenly saw that Mangli's cheeks were slightly red, and her breathing was intermittent. Lin Feng was worried in his heart, and thought, "Not good, her breathing is not very stable, it seems that I have to do artificial respiration." Thinking this, he leaned down, preparing to blow air for Manglai. Just as he got close to her beautiful face, Meng Lai opened her eyes, and said weakly, I. In an instant, she seemed to have misunderstood Lin Feng's actions as him intending to kiss her. Meng Lai quickly grabbed Lin Feng's hand, with no trace of the weakness of someone who had just fainted. She shouted in anger, You brat, it seems that you have really grown up, you actually dare to kiss me. He was grabbed tightly and hurriedly cried out in pain, saying, Sister Lu, let's talk things over. But Meng Li showed no mercy. Then, a loud crash and Lin Feng's painful scream echoed in the room. He was knocked to the ground by her. Meng Li looked down from above, dusting off her hands as she said, Lin Feng, the mastermind behind your parents' case is much stronger than you imagine. The Zhu family is just a pawn. She placed her hand on her chest and softly asked, I've almost been in trouble several times. Do you think you're capable of facing them in your current state? Lin Feng had just taken a beating, and now had a bruise on his right cheek and blood still flowing from his nose. He looked away, his tone resolute as he said, Even if the Zhu family is just a pawn, I won't let them off. I can squeeze some information out of them. Meng Li bent down and placed her hand on his shoulder, reassuring him, Lin Feng, I understand how you feel. She said gently, It's just that young people can't be so rash, exposing themselves to the eyes of the masterminds. Time is running out. The school and I are preparing to arrange some resources for you to become stronger faster. Lin Feng brushed it off, saying, Forget it, the school's meager resources are too poor. Keep them for Suya. Meng Li's eyes widened upon hearing these words, and she was speechless for a moment. He slowly stood up, turned to leave, and waved his hand as he said, I have my own way of becoming stronger. If there's nothing else, I'll go first. With that, Lin Feng left, slamming the door hard as he exited the room. Meng Li stared blankly after him. Alone in the room, she lowered her head and thought to herself, Although he's not as wary of me as before, this kid's temper is still as stubborn as ever. The mobile phone on the table suddenly vibrated repeatedly. Meng Li answered the phone, saying, Hello, it's me. Yes, go ahead, I'm listening. The next day, on the school's sports field, Lin Feng was standing with Suya when he saw Shan Tian carrying a large wooden box, running towards them while calling out, Boss. His face looked very happy, and he excitedly said, I brought the thing you asked for. Lin Feng raised his hand, signaling Shan Tian to calm down, and then asked, That thing isn't urgent for now. Do you know why we're being gathered? He nodded slightly and replied, I heard that people from the Baihu Corporation are here. I heard it's related to arrangements for our graduation later on. He frowned slightly and thought for a moment, then said, Arrangements, working for the Baihu Corporation? That feels like it has no future. At this moment, several people descended from the sky onto the sports field. The crowd of students immediately went to watch, constantly clamoring, They're here, they're here. Really? Let me see. That's the captain of the Baihu Corporation, seems to be about our age. As the dust dissipated, the person who landed first in a perfect pose was indeed the captain of the Baihu Corporation. Bai Ji. She raised her face, which was filled with confidence. The crowd cheered again, praising, This beautiful captain's sister is so stylish. The students surrounding them happened to leave a space in the middle. Both Lin Feng and Bai Ji were standing at opposite ends of that space, so their eyes quickly met. Lin Feng was stunned, thinking to himself, Why is she here? Bai Ji also thought in surprise, He's actually here. She reacted extremely quickly, turned around, and the jetpack behind her was immediately activated, sending Bai Ji into the air. She rushed towards him, laughing as she said, I've got you. Bai Ji gained momentum and rushed in front of Lin Feng, shouting, Here I come. He hurriedly stepped forward to block Suya, not forgetting to say, Suya, step back. Lin Feng frowned and thought to himself, Damn it, this old woman really holds grudges. And directly came at me. Bai Ji not only rushed towards him, but also made a move. Lin Feng quickly took a step back, dodging her attack. Bai Ji didn't give up even though she missed, and her body immediately flipped in the air. Lin Feng was startled when he saw this. Immediately after, she reached out and grabbed his collar, intending to use the reaction force to knock Lin Feng down, but he quickly gathered his strength and stood firm. His whole body as steady as a mountain, not being knocked down. Bai Ji hung upside down in front of Lin Feng, smiling but with extremely fierce eyes, saying, Not bad, but it won't be so easy next time. With that, she immediately flew backwards, throwing out a violent explosive attack while shouting, Explode for me. Lin Feng couldn't avoid the explosion and was forced back several steps by the explosive force, but he didn't suffer any serious injuries. Only his face was covered in soot and slightly scratched. Lin Feng raised his head to look at Bai Ji, his eyes changing somewhat, thinking, Her ability is a bit strange. The students in the school who had been exploited by him in the past immediately cheered and cheered when they saw Lin Feng being beaten. Great! We can finally see Lin Feng eating dirt. Beauty, go for it, beat him! Suya stood aside, her eyes wide with surprise, not understanding what was happening. Lin Feng's face darkened, and he reached out into the air. A blue energy ball immediately appeared. He shouted, "Swords, come!" The blue energy from the ball immediately attracted 2 swords, which were stored in the box that Shan Tian brought earlier. He was shocked and exclaimed, stammering, What kind of ability is this? It's so flashy!" Lin Feng reached out and gently caught the 2 swords, and white light radiated in all directions. He waved the swords in his hand and said to Baiji with a smile, "If we've warmed up, then let's continue fighting." Lin Feng's whole body was covered in golden light, and surging lightning energy wrapped around the sword. He said, "Alright, I've warmed up, now it's time for the second round." Baiji smiled and tightened her grip on the 2 cannons in her hands, saying cheerfully, "Very good, that's the fighting spirit I want." Lin Feng lowered his center of gravity and rushed towards her like an arrow leaving the bowstring. Baiji also quickly rushed forward, his sword meeting her cannon, colliding and sparking. Lin Feng frowned and looked into Baiji's eyes. He exerted a little more force and pushed the sword in his hand hard, pushing her back several steps. The students immediately exclaimed in surprise, "What? How is that possible? That Lin Feng can actually fight evenly with a member of the Baihu Legion? No way. Absolutely no way. He's only been awakened for a few days, he must be using stimulants." At this moment, the electronic voice of the system suddenly sounded in Lin Feng's ear, announcing, due to the host's strength being questioned, receiving 200 points of negative value. He ignored this announcement, and his eyes looked at Baiji with interest, smiling and thinking to himself, "Looking at this Baiji, she seems to be the fighting type. Even more difficult than the previous opponents." At this time, Baiji was still looking at her hand, frowning and thinking to herself, "This kid can actually do this much, it seems that he is no longer an ordinary university student. I have to strike hard." Just then, the teachers in the school, led by Mengli, came over. She shouted, "Stop!" Mengli came to Baiji and said sternly, "You are the captain of the Baihu Legion, yet you are fighting with a student, what kind of example is that?" Baiji put away the 2 cannons, put her hands on her hips, and said with a smile, "Principal Lu, you are hiding such a talented person without reporting it, I haven't settled this with you yet." She leaned over and stared at Mengli, and happily continued, "Sister Lu, why don't you let this talent join our team? I will definitely train him well." Responding to Baiji were only 2 cold words. "Dream on." Mengli turned and walked towards the students, saying, "The school will cooperate with the Baihu Legion to go to Jinlan Feng to participate in the operation to eliminate alien beasts. When you arrive in Jinlan Feng, everyone will be divided into groups and conduct practical training." Everyone was a young student full of vitality. Hearing that they were going to conduct practical training, everyone was very excited and began to talk lively. Jinlan Feng is not far from the school, only about an hour's drive. Yes, after fighting the alien beasts, we can still make it for dinner. A sprite circled over Lin Feng's head and cheered, "Great, we can finally go to fight alien beasts. The host must kill a lot of alien beasts, the system will reward more negative value." He heard this and curled his lips and smiled, his eyes full of fighting spirit, thinking, "So there is such a setting, this practical battle is a good opportunity to improve my ability." Everyone quickly got into the car and set off to Jinlan Feng. When they arrived, the students filed out of the car one after another. Lin Feng, carrying the wooden box containing the 2 swords on his back, slowly stepped down last. He looked up at the small town in front of him, and was surprised in his heart, thinking, "This is Jinlan Feng?" The eyes of the people here, regardless of old or young, big or small, all looked at them with hatred. Everyone had obvious dark circles under their eyes. Lin Feng thought to himself, "Why does it feel like the atmosphere is not right?" After Baiji got off the bus, she was pounced on by a beautiful girl, who was called Yilan. She smiled and exclaimed, "It turns out that Xiao Baiji is leading the team. That's really great." Baiji panicked and scolded, let go, you muscle girl." Yilan quickly regained her professionalism. She held a microphone, stood in front of the students, and began to introduce herself. "Hello everyone, I am Yilan, the captain of the Jinlan Feng security team. First of all, on behalf of Jinlan Feng, I thank you students from Fengyan University for coming here. Thank you for coming to help us eliminate those hateful alien beasts." Baiji next to Yilan clearly showed impatience. She snatched the microphone and scolded, "Wordy, how long do you have to say this?" Baiji puffed out her chest, took the microphone, coughed, and then declared loudly, "Today's task is very simple. Later, we will draw lots to divide into groups, 5 people in a group, and then go hunting for alien beasts in the wild in groups. All the gains from hunting alien beasts belong to you. If you encounter alien beasts that you can't handle, please call our team. Is everyone clear? If anyone has anything they don't understand, please ask now." No one had any objections, and the lottery was quickly completed. Lin Feng looked at the paper he drew, which clearly showed the number 14. He frowned slightly, thinking to himself, 14, this number is not lucky at all. Who will I be in the group with? He approached a group of students who were arguing, and heard them say, "What? Why are we in the same group with Lin Feng? This is really unlucky. Can we change groups?" Being with Lin Feng will definitely not have good results. Lin Feng walked straight into the middle of them, and said loudly, "If you want to get out now. Taking a few useless people like you will only reduce my efficiency in hunting monsters." A male student in the team immediately exclaimed, This is what you said." Then he and another male student ran away, leaving Zhao Ting alone in a daze, running and shouting, "Teacher, we want to change groups." The system's notification sounded again. The system detects that the host is threatening the opponent to leave the group, receiving 200 points of negative value. Lin Feng formed a team with Zhao Ting, one in front and one behind, entering the forest and starting to hunt for alien beasts. Sprite walked in front with him, smiling and asking, "Host, aren't you a loner? Why are you taking a girl with you?" Lin Feng glanced at it, and replied with a helpless expression, "I can't get rid of her, there's no other way." Zhao Ting hugged a notebook in front of her chest, and followed behind him, maintaining a sufficient distance. A few minutes ago, she had tearfully grabbed his trouser legs, sobbing and saying, "Lin Feng, please, don't kick me out of the team. No one else is willing to accept me, please, I beg you." Lin Feng did not look at Zhao Ting kneeling at his feet, only said coldly, "It's really a headache, you just need to follow behind later." She really listened to him, and had been following behind him. After walking for a while, Lin Feng suddenly stopped. Zhao Ting did not pay attention and almost bumped into the wooden box that he was carrying on his back. Lin Feng gently lowered the box, stared at the forest in front of him, and replied in a deep voice, "There is killing intent. From the darkness, it feels like dozens of pairs of sinister eyes are staring at them." He stretched out his hand to block Zhao Ting, and said loudly, "Hide now, I am about to start a massacre." She was startled, and replied stammeringly, yes. Lin Feng carried lightning all over his body. His eyes flashed with killing intent, rushing forward like an arrow. He was like a lightning bolt hitting left and right, successively defeating several alien beasts, some of which were beaten to the point of sobbing. Before the ferocious alien beasts could move, they were quickly cleaned up by Lin Feng. He rushed forward, kicking 2 alien beasts with 1 foot. Throughout the process of Lin Feng dealing with alien beasts, the system constantly jumped out of the notification. Defeat an alien beast, hated by other alien beasts. Congratulations to the host for receiving 20 points of negative value. Lin Feng stopped, lightning radiated around him. The alien beast clearly saw the target, and rushed over at the same time. Behind the alien beast herd there was a slightly larger alien beast, looking like it was the commander of them. It stared at him, humming softly as if thinking. Then it waved its hand and pointed at him, roaring to order an attack. But no matter how many alien beasts came, they were all knocked back by Lin Feng's lightning. He laughed madly and shouted, not enough, completely not enough. The negative value is only a little more than 100, it seems that I have to work harder." Lin Feng called out loudly, "Swords, come!" The 2 swords rushed out of the box and flew towards him, carrying blue lightning. He stood in a stance, bent over, crossed his hands, and his whole body was covered in the blue color of lightning. The 2 swords rushed to Lin Feng's hands. He took the hilt, and the golden lightning from his body immediately sensed them, and the 2 swords were immediately surrounded by golden lightning. Lin Feng held the sword and charged left and right, chopping alien beasts like chopping vegetables. He constantly destroyed alien beasts, and the system also constantly issued notifications adding 20 points of negative value. Lin Feng heard this sound and laughed very happily, thinking to himself, the negative value comes too quickly. Zhao Ting stood in the distance and observed the whole scene, surprised to think, what, Lin Feng is so strong, no wonder he was so arrogant just now. In her mind, she unconsciously appeared with inappropriate fantasies, such as the scene of Lin Feng gently saying to her, "Woman, from now on, you only belong to me." In Zhao Ting's girlish dream, she was wearing a hot black swimsuit, held by Lin Feng in her arms. Zhao Ting in the dream shyly blushed and said, stammering, "Lin Feng, Lord, is this real?" Zhao Ting's eyes lit up and stared at Lin Feng, constantly dreaming in her head, to the point that her cheeks were also flushed. But then she woke up from her dream, shaking her head hard while thinking, "Don't fantasize that, that's impossible." Suddenly Zhao Ting's eyes turned white, completely losing focus, and a dazzling blue light flashed in her body. Zhao Ting stiffened and froze in place. On this side, Lin Feng, who was fighting hard, suddenly sensed something and stopped. He turned his head to look at Zhao Ting, and just at that moment her whole body was radiating a soft, golden color. Lin Feng thought in surprise, "What is this girl radiating such a strange aura?" Sprite next to him smiled happily and said, "Today is really lucky. I can actually witness the outbreak of alien energy." Lin Feng asked blankly, "The outbreak of alien energy? Doesn't it only appear after the transcendence?" In front of them, Zhao Ting's whole body had flown into the sky, covered in dazzling red flames. The powerful aura made Lin Feng have to raise his hand to cover his eyes. Sprite said calmly, "How can there be anything immutable in this world? Isn't that a special case right in front of you?" Lin Feng was surprised, and thought again, she is only at the primary level after awakening, but this aura is too scary. Zhao Ting at this time has begun to enter a state of outbreak. She completely lost consciousness. Her whole body was covered by raging flames. Lin Feng turned his head and looked behind him, and said with an unhappy face, "This is really a bit troublesome. There are tigers in front and wolves in the back." Sprite grinned and said, "If the host can't solve it, you can ask this system to help." He did not answer, and turned his head to look at Zhao Ting, and sneered coldly. His eyes revealed evil intentions. Lin Feng did not think too long, but immediately rushed towards her, holding the sword high. Sprite panicked and quickly shouted, "Are you crazy? Even if she is out of control, she is still an alien energy near the transcendent." He laughed loudly and replied, "How can I allow the existence of anything more outstanding than me?" Unexpectedly, at this time, Zhao Ting opened her eyes wide. There were no pupils in her eyes, only a bright golden color. She shouted loudly, "Presumptuous!" The flames that were wrapping Zhao Ting flared up, pushing Lin Feng back. He frowned, and thought to himself, "Very good, I have been hooked." Lin Feng did not continue to attack her, but turned and ran deep into the forest. Sprite hurriedly followed, curiously asked, "Host, why did you suddenly run away? Where is your negative aura just now?" He laughed, and said mysteriously, "Run, you will know immediately." Lin Feng flew straight to the alien beast herd, and did not kill any more. They were a little stunned when he ignored them. Zhao Ting chased Lin Feng. Wherever she passed, the flames on her body burned everything to ashes. The alien beasts who were still stunned were burned without leaving one. His system constantly notified, "Alien beasts are affected by the host's battle and die. Congratulations to the host for receiving 20 points of negative value." Sprite was very happy, laughing and praising, "So you are using a plan to lead the tiger to swallow the wolf. You are really an insidious and thoughtful villain." At this time, another huge alien beast suddenly rushed out to block the road. It roared and stretched its sharp claws towards Zhao Ting. She did not stop, but flew straight to it. Zhao Ting's eyebrows were tightly frowned, and faint golden imprints appeared around her eyes. She stretched out her hand and shouted loudly. The huge alien beast was immediately pushed away, only having time to groan a few times. It fell to the ground right in front of Lin Feng. He did not hesitate to give the alien beast a sword into the position under the neck. It painfully screamed. Lin Feng stepped on the head of the alien beast, pulled out the sword, and said softly, "The timing is just right, it doesn't take any effort." The system immediately jumped out of the notification, because the host just added a domineering stab, receiving 200 points of negative value. On the other side, Zhao Ting was no longer chasing him as closely as before, but switched to attacking the alien beasts. She powerfully released a terrifying flame and shouted, All disappear for me." Sprite crossed his arms and looked at Lin Feng, asking with interest, "The alien beast herd is considered resolved, but what do you plan to do with the girl who is out of control?" He frowned slightly and said, "The energy on her body has been consumed a lot. It should not be difficult to deal with." Zhao Ting had already turned to Lin Feng. With a fierce look, she unleashed her alien energy. Lin Feng wanted to avoid it, but was surprised to find that he could not move. He thought to himself, "The body does not move. The energy is really strong." "But just as I predicted, you'll never guess my next move," Lin Feng thought, puffing out his cheeks and blowing out a stream of energy. He blew hard, and the stream of energy transformed into an arrow, flying towards Zhao Ting. She was hit by the arrow and was immediately knocked backwards, completely passing out. Freed, Lin Feng quickly rushed over to catch Zhao Ting, thinking to himself, "This Zhao Ting usually looks weak, but when she loses control, she's so difficult to deal with. Could there be a secret hidden within her?" He looked intently at Zhao Ting, only to see that her clothes were torn in many places, and she seemed to be fast asleep. Lin Feng breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, finally resolved. It would have been troublesome if it had led to a murder. He glanced at Zhao Ting again, surprised to think, this Zhao Ting usually dresses so conservatively. I didn't expect her figure to be so good. Shouts rang out, alien beast attack. Its roar echoed through the space, the display showing, Warlord level 30, initial stage transcendent. Painful cries, call for reinforcements. No, there are too many alien beasts. Help. Along with the cries, the swarm of alien beasts that had appeared at the beginning were attacking. Shan Tian was in extreme pain, pinned under a huge rock. Suddenly, a corpse flew in front of him from somewhere, confusing Shan Tian. The person in the black robe stood on the rock above him and shouted, "Didn't we say to leave the entire Lan Feng town to us to handle? Why are there so many low-level things blocking our way?" Shan Tian was worried, this is too brutal. Could those be warlord-level alien beasts? The phone on the other side replied, that's the arrangement for the temporary combat practice of Fengyun University. But this is also considered an appetizer before the main course. What, are you not satisfied? He cursed, although this trash is better than ordinary people, the number is too small, not enough to fill my teeth. The person on the other side replied. Anyway, the plan will not change. The ordinary people of Lan Feng town are definitely enough to fill you up. Shan Tian, after hearing the entire conversation, turned pale with fear, thinking, these ferocious alien beasts want to attack the residents of Lan Feng town. Isn't this the advent of the beast tide? In another place, Zhao Ting slowly opened her eyes and said, where am I? She looked all over her body and panicked. What happened to my clothes? My skirt too. Could it be Lin Feng did it? Zhao Ting imagined him with a perverted face saying, you've finally fallen into my hands. When you're pregnant with my child, you'll be my slave forever. She hugged her body in shame. My innocent body has been ruined. I haven't even dated anyone before. Nearby, Lin Feng was standing when the system voice announced, the host is misunderstood as a rapist, increasing 200 points of negative value. He picked up the sketchbook and wondered, what is this? If Zhao Ting's ability is precognition, then this picture is. Lin Feng suddenly realized, it's the Lan Feng town beast tide invasion. Lan Feng town is in danger. He walked over to cut off Zhao Ting's ridiculous train of thought. Lin Feng carried her over his shoulder. Zhao Ting exclaimed, Lin Feng, what exactly do you want to do? Put me down. He threatened softly, be quiet for me, or I'll throw you into this wilderness too. Fend for yourself. She covered her mouth and fantasized wildly, this beastly Lin Feng definitely intends to rape me again. For the sake of the baby in my belly, I can only endure everything. He sped up like the wind, scaring Zhao Ting, put me down. Lin Feng replied, shut your mouth, you're so noisy. She imagined that Lin Peng definitely intends to take me to some small treehouse and do something lewd again. Zhao Ting, thinking about the fact that she could not resist, Lin Feng, you are a pervert, don't come here. And he replied in a scoundrelly manner, no matter how much you scream. No one will come here. The system voice announced, the host is misunderstood as a lecher, increasing 100 points of negative value. Lin Feng, after hearing this, was stunned. Thinking, if it wasn't because I thought her precognitive ability was useful, I would really want to throw her here. In a corner of the town, Baiji called, I am Baiji, respond if you receive. The phone on the other side did not speak again. She wondered, strange, the data from 2 teams hasn't been uploaded for a long time. Yilan behind her was directing a group of people. You guys, move these boxes of supplies into the house. Lin Feng ran over from a distance and called, hey, Baiji. In disbelief, Baiji said, Lin Feng. She asked, it's not time to gather yet, why are you back? He threw Zhao Ting down and explained, there's a beast tide approaching Lan Feng town, we must quickly evacuate all the residents. Yilan laughed and said, what, a beast tide is approaching? Don't joke around. Baiji, in disbelief, said, impossible, the Daxia kingdom always has military satellites monitoring. If there's a beast tide attack, there will definitely be a warning. Everyone around him didn't believe him. They cursed that Lin Feng, you weren't satisfied with ruining the trial of your classmates last time? You want to destroy the combat practice this time too? Another person continued, the principal isn't here this time, we won't follow your wishes. He looked at Zhao Ting sitting in a corner and considered, it's difficult to convince this stubborn group of people with the picture that Zhao Ting drew, and I don't want to reveal her ability so quickly either. Just then, a figure rushed over in a panic. Teacher boss. Shan Tian, covered in injuries, walked with a limp. I finally survived and came back. Someone in the group asked with concern, Shan Tian, what happened to you? Where are the other classmates? He hugged Lin Feng's leg and recounted, Boss, we encountered a vanguard beast tide. The others are all dead. I almost couldn't come back either. They intend to swallow the entire Lanfeng town. We have to run. Yilan grabbed Shan Tian's shoulder and hurriedly asked in detail, Wait, tell me clearly. The target of the beast tide is Lanfeng town. How do you know this? He stammered, I. Baiji gritted her teeth, puzzled. Could it really be a beast tide, and there are warlord-level alien beasts? Why didn't the military department issue a warning? She hurriedly ordered, quickly fire a signal flare. Notify the other squads to stop their missions and return immediately. He bowed his head and replied, Understood. He pointed his gun at the sky and fired a flare. The squads in the deep forest saw the flare and said, Quick, look. That's a signal flare. Damn it, is this the signal to return to the team? This mission is ruined again. I haven't earned enough points yet. Suya said loudly. All team members immediately stopped the mission, followed the signal and returned to Lanfeng town immediately. In her heart, she was full of questions. What exactly happened? Why did they stop the combat practice? Baiji reassured everyone, please remain calm. The emergency evacuation is to avoid the beast tide, there will be no losses. A few people objected to this decision. Beast tide? That was a matter of many years ago. Just saying a word and wanting us to leave Lanfeng town, on what basis? Others agreed, that's right, if we delay any longer, we'll have to eat dirt to survive. Sprite was dissatisfied, a disaster is about to happen, and you're still worrying about trivial matters? You're all so stupid. Lin Feng opened his mouth. Could it be that this beast tide will be a little difficult to deal with? It disdained, now is the low tide period, the beast disaster will at most reach the calamity level. As long as there is a transcendent leading, it can be easily suppressed. A person turned his head to look at him suspiciously. He pointed at Lin Feng resolutely. That's right. I overheard just now that the rumor of the beast tide was first spread by this guy. Others heard this and doubted. So that's how it is. There's no beast tide at all. The ones who should get out are this group of students who only know how to enjoy the benefits. Some students were also angry. This guy is Lin Feng. He beats up classmates at school, collects protection money, and steals girls' underwear. Others cursed. That's right, why should we believe the words of this bastard? They clamored, yes, that's right. Let them get out. Get out. He was indifferent to the words they said. The voice of chasing people continued, get out. On the contrary, Lin Feng smiled because the notification said, Congratulations to the host for being hated by the residents of Lanfeng town. Receiving 100 points of negative value. Suddenly, he laughed loudly with confidence. Lin Feng, with a sinister expression, said, You probably won't believe it if I say it, but the reason I'm so knowledgeable about beast tides is because this beast tide was caused by me. The group was stunned and stammered, What? What are you talking about? He continued to smile evilly. You think someone as smart as me would confront the alien beasts head-on? Only an idiot would do that. Lin Feng recounted, I directly went to ambush them, killed all the female alien beasts and the young ones, and piled their heads into a mountain. The group was terrified. You are really cruel. Are you even human? He stood in front of the group and asked confidently, Think about it, if you were alien beasts, what would you think when you returned home and saw this scene? Lin Feng affirmed, Of course, it would be to kill all the residents settling near the tiger's den. Everyone pointed at Lin Feng's face and shouted, So the beast tide was really caused by you. You scum! You will never be at peace. He laughed and said, Anyway, I have achieved my goal. It's none of my business whether you live or die. The crowd hurriedly ran away. Someone wanted to continue speaking, others stopped him, Don't say anything more. Quickly go home to pack your things and run. Sprite sighed, If I wasn't always by the host's side, I would have believed those arrogant words of yours. Lin Feng replied, Anyway, they won't obediently listen and leave. It's better to directly destroy the so-called hope in their hearts. The notification was issued, the host is hated by the residents of Lanfeng town, receiving 330 points of negative value and is called the enemy of Lanfeng town. This title can allow the host to receive an additional 50% negative value when in the Lanfeng town area. Zhao Ting sat in a corner, watching everyone running around in a panic. Run! The alien beasts are coming. She looked at him, puzzled. Lin Feng has always been by my side, this matter probably has nothing to do with him. Then why? Zhao Ting seemed to understand something. Could it be that he's not as bad as I thought? The crowd was in chaos. They shouted, Run! My child! Has anyone seen my child? Yilan hurriedly stopped everyone, Don't panic. Please line up neatly, leave in order. Baiji hurriedly connected to ask for help. I am Baiji. I have accurate information. A beast tide is about to hit Lanfeng town. Please send the military department to rescue us. The other side replied, We are very sorry, Captain Baiji. The regiment commander took the main force out to eliminate the alien beasts. We cannot contact him for the time being. She angrily punched the wall. That damned bastard. When I get back, I will definitely make him unable to drink a bowl of porridge. Baiji punched a hole in the wall. She called, Hello, I am Baiji of the Baihu Legion. Help me transfer the call to Commander Liu of your group. Meng Li heard the information and shouted in surprise, What? A beast tide is about to attack Lanfeng town. How could this be? She said worriedly, Okay, no problem. Our Fengyun University will fully assist in this evacuation. In addition, these victims will be temporarily arranged to stay in our school. Hanging up the phone, Meng Li ordered, Wen Wei, quickly notify all the phone classes of the school. She bowed her head and replied. The beast tide rushed in from a distance. The black-robed leader wondered, the residents of Lanfeng town are relocating? Where exactly did the information leak from? The person on the other side of the phone replied, I don't know either. It seems that a student reported your whereabouts. Hurry up, otherwise the residents of Lanfeng town will all run away. He hung up the phone and cursed, Damn humans, not trustworthy at all. The black-robed leader was determined, Lanfeng town, I will definitely level you. Baiji and some people gathered at the fortifications. She assigned tasks. The combat team goes to the intersection of the main road. The remote support group occupies the high points on both sides. The other members continue to evacuate in order. Everyone said in unison, Understood. Lin Feng leaned against the wall calmly, watching everyone. Sprite pouted, as expected, It's just as I predicted. They didn't bring you along at all. He said indifferently, Being with this weak group will only affect my harvest efficiency. The beast tide rushed over full of killing intent. Suya reminded the person next to her, Don't pay attention to the alien beasts that cross the red line. Firepower the alien beasts in the back first. The other person stammered. Al already understood. Everyone used guns to shoot continuously at the alien beasts. They seemed unafraid even though they were hit by bullets, and still rushed up. A man hid on the side in fear, thinking, Today is really unlucky. I just escaped with my life, and now I've encountered the front line again. Someone was caught by an alien beast and shouted, Save me. Others saw this and trembled in fear, too scary. I can't do it. Baiji successively defeated alien beasts. She looked at the unstable situation and sighed, The reinforcements have just started to fight. These students are really weak. If it were before, I would have directly dealt with them on the spot. Someone was running and panting. Suddenly, a powerful punch hit him straight in the face. He hugged his face and screamed, Lin Feng. What exactly do you want to do? Lin Feng, you bastard. He carried the sword on his shoulder disdainfully. It's nothing, it's just that I don't like seeing you cowardly bastards. Lin Feng threatened, It's very chaotic now. It seems that directly killing you wouldn't be difficult. They heard this and were uncomfortable. Rather than dying in Lin Feng's hands, it's better to pull the beasts over as shields. Others agreed, That's right. Sprite happily announced, The host just beat up a classmate who deserted, and was resented by many people, receiving 225 points of negative value. Lin Feng said, completely insufficient. If I eliminate all these alien beasts, then how many points of negative value will I receive? He excitedly stepped forward, What is said is done. Lin Feng slashed alien beasts repeatedly. The notification came, Killed an alien beast, hated by other alien beasts. Congratulations to the host for receiving 30 points of negative value. He wondered, My realm hasn't broken through yet. Why is it that when I hit these alien beasts, it's like chopping melons and cutting vegetables? Sprite explained. Didn't you get the title, Enemy of Lanfeng Town? As long as you are within the range of Lanfeng Town, you will deal higher damage than usual. Lin Feng stuck the sword into the ground and replied, So that's how it is. He smiled evilly, Since I have a buff from the title, then I will sweep to my heart's content. Others looked at Lin Feng, who easily slashed alien beasts, and marveled, Is that really Lin Feng? Others were surprised, daring to rush into the alien beast herd alone. Is Lin Feng crazy? The alien beast could not fight anymore and fell down. Lin Feng stood on the top of the alien beast's corpse. He panted from exhaustion. Lin Feng spoke, The realm is still too low, my physical strength is dropping a little too fast. System, I want to try my luck. Sprite happily rushed over, It's already prepared. The host's current negative value is 4,200, you can draw 2 times 10 consecutive draws. He drew, Physical Strength Recovery Medicine, maximum recovery of internal force. Lin Feng was pleased. Although it's not a big reward, it can also be considered that I got what I needed. He immediately drank it. A rich source of power flowed in Lin Feng. He was excited. Come, let this battle be more intense. Those below looked at Lin Feng with great strength and were envious. If Lin Feng hadn't brought this beast tide, we wouldn't need to risk our lives like this. That man, he is really crazy. In the future, we must stay away from this kind of person. Suya, who was in the battle, was also surprised by him. The strength of this alien beast is equivalent to the middle-level initial spirit master, but Lin Feng, who has not reached the supermaster, can easily slaughter them. She was determined. It seems that I have to work harder, otherwise I will be left far behind by Lin Feng. Baiji praised that Lin Feng is really not bad. Indeed, such a person is suitable to come to our Baihu Legion. A loud voice rang out. The beast tide has retreated. Everyone cheered. Great, we won. We finally survived. Baiji flew over to remind, don't be careless, quickly re-establish the front line. The beast disaster cannot be so simple. Just now was just a probing attack by the alien beasts. Everyone was stunned. What? The fierce battle just now was just a probing attack. Am I really going to die here? Lin Feng, holding the sword, looked at them from a distance. He was delighted, so that means there are more high-quality alien beasts in the back. The black-robed man was calling and scolding, damn humans, not keeping your word. Are you deliberately letting my subordinates die? The other side replied, Lan Feng Town only has a group of students and a team of ability users. If you still can't handle them, then we don't need to cooperate anymore. Hearing this, he gritted his teeth in anger. He ordered, it's your turn to lead the way. You must completely destroy Lan Feng Town for me. Yilan asked, have you contacted the main force of the Baihu Legion yet? Baiji snapped, not yet. Those irresponsible guys. Wait for me to go back and report to headquarters. She worried, the main force of the beast tide has not yet arrived. I don't know if we can hold out until everyone retreats safely. She reassured, don't worry too much. I have notified Fengyun University, aid will arrive soon. At the school, the people got off the bus one after another. Their faces were full of unease. Meng Li looked at the situation and thought, I feel that this beast tide came inexplicably. Moreover, the whereabouts of the Baihu Legion are too strange. She spoke one way, leave the matters of the school to you to take care of. I have to go to Lan Feng Town for a trip. She replied, Miss, please rest assured. I will definitely take care of it carefully. With that, Meng Li drove away. Chu Yen smiled contemptuously. It's really rare, that woman actually left the school. Others were indignant. The whole school is as chaotic as a battlefield. Why does the higher-ups let a mediocre person like her manage Fengyun University? He turned his head and said to them, chaos is the ladder of progress. It's better for Fengyun University to be more chaotic now, otherwise we won't have the opportunity to progress. They asked, puzzled, progress? What progress? A burly man said loudly to the people, you are very safe now, line up neatly, we will arrange everything properly. Meanwhile, in Lan Feng Town, Lin Feng was sitting and looking at the pictures. He was agitated. What the hell is Zhao Ting drawing in the back? It's even more chaotic than that pile of trashy comics. Sprite replied, peeking into the future is violating the law of cause and effect. If you draw it clearly, it's no different from cheating. A person came to interrupt Lin Feng's train of thought. He looked at Zhao Ting and asked, what's the matter? She hesitated. Lin Feng, did you actually do that thing with me? Lin Feng replied indifferently, is the answer that important to you? In my eyes, it's just a small matter not worth mentioning. He guessed, this girl won't go crazy again. Right. If that's the case, I can't stand it. Zhao Ting's tears began to fall. She thought, it's over, Lin Feng really did it, my virginity is lost. Suya came and saw her covering her face and crying and asked, what's wrong with Zhao Ting? She was indignant for her. Hey, Lin Feng, even the introverted girl like Zhao Ting was made to cry by you. Did you bully her? He replied indifferently, why does it matter to me if she cries? Moreover, I saved her, and haven't even collected the protection fee yet. Suya shouted, what, you even collect protection fees? Lin Feng said as if it were obvious, the weak pay tribute to the strong, isn't that a matter of course? She was speechless. The notification came, the shameless behavior of the host successfully made others feel disgusted, negative value increased by 150 points. Suddenly, a flame of power rose outside. Suya was frightened. Could it be the second attack of the alien beasts? He stopped her. Wait, this pressure is not like ordinary alien beasts. 2 alien beasts slowly approached. Yulan stiffened. What exactly is it? Why do I feel so horrified? Baiji hurriedly instructed, "Everyone fall back. That's a warlord-type alien beast." Everyone trembled in fear. What's going on? Why can't my body move? Save me. Someone save me. A level 30 warlord appeared, full of killing intent. Yilan hurriedly said, "Everyone, retreat from this alien beast." Just then, Baiji rushed forward. She stopped her. "Baiji, don't be impulsive." She punched the warlord-level alien beast. Baiji cursed, "You idiot, go to hell." She was countered and flew away. The alien beast was unharmed after Baiji's attack. She said in disbelief, "Why isn't it hurt at all? This is too troublesome." Suddenly, the alien beast rushed close to Baiji, and she couldn't react in time. Baiji quickly used her weapon to block the attack. Yulan shouted worriedly, "Baiji!" Another alien beast appeared right behind her. She turned her head in surprise. This alien beast, why is its speed so fast? Just then, Lin Feng appeared out of nowhere and blocked its attack. Lin Feng thought in his head with a pained expression, "Damn it, why is this leopard's attack so domineering?" Suya cast a move to break the ice. "Damn alien beast, don't be arrogant." Lin Feng swung his dual blades and slashed continuously at the alien beast. The alien beast staggered backward and landed. Yilan said awkwardly, "Thank you just now. If you hadn't taken action, I'm afraid I would have." Suya helped Lin Feng up and asked, "Lin Feng, are you okay?" He wiped his mouth and said, "What could happen to me?" Lin Feng thought in his head, "How strong is this alien beast? Why is it so difficult to deal with?" Sprite replied with a smile, "Currently, this warlord-level alien beast is as strong as a low-level transcendent. Once the power difference exceeds 2 levels, a crushing effect will occur. No matter how talented you are, it will be difficult to exert your power." It put its hands on its hips and continued, "If the host didn't possess 3 kinds of alien abilities, you would have been controlled by fear to the point where you couldn't lift your feet." Lin Feng thought in his head, "So that's why those weak classmates couldn't move. If my alien energy is not enough, then I will break through. Anyway, there is a lot of experience in the warehouse." Lin Feng braced himself, and his body began to glow. He held double swords in both hands, and his body shone brightly with fire. Suya exclaimed in panic, "What is this?" "Lin Feng, did you break through and become a super master?" Lin Feng laughed loudly. "What's so difficult about it? As long as I want to, there's nothing I can't do." He shouted, "Charge!" Lin Feng used all his speed to charge at the alien beast. He said, "High-altitude counterattack." Lin Feng swung his sword hard on the ground, and rocks splattered everywhere, sending the alien beast flying into the air. Following that, he flew high into the air. Suya saw this and shouted worriedly, "Lin Feng, don't be reckless. That alien beast's power is far beyond us." Lin Feng continuously unleashed moves on the alien beast while replying, "I don't need you to tell me. Just don't get in my way." He thought in his head, "I can't give it a chance to breathe. I must take this opportunity to eliminate it in one fell swoop." Ice began to approach from under the alien beast's feet. Power of ice. Ice sealing heaven and earth. The ice just now was cast by Suya. She smiled lightly in a provocative tone, "Want to escape? There's no way." Lin Feng in the back also shouted loudly, "Let's see where you can jump this time." He pointed the tip of his sword at the alien beast and shouted, "Swords, come!" Immediately, thousands of swords gathered around Lin Feng. Limitless swords come, swords stream destruction. The swords began to rush towards the alien beast. The alien beast howled in pain, thousands of swords pierced through its body. A deafening explosion. The alien beast lost its strength to resist and fell to the ground. Lin Feng breathed a sigh of relief, finally dealt with one. Suya thought to herself, what skills does Lin Feng possess? Is it really a double alien ability in the legend? A car was moving on the road. Inside the car, Mengli crossed her arms and asked, "How long until we reach Lin Feng town?" The driver replied, "Fourth miss, about 20 minutes." She ordered, "Speed up. Try to get there within 10 minutes. Mengli thought to herself, "This beast tide is a bit strange. I must quickly arrive to assist Lin Feng and Suya." On this side, Baiji was resisting painfully, huff, huff. She judged, "This crocodile's defense is too thick, I can't attack it at all." The crocodile braced itself and shouted. Immediately, Baiji realized something was wrong. "Oh no! This stinking crocodile, could it be?" She shouted, "Everyone, quickly stop it. Don't let it get close to the leopard's body." Wherever the alien beast rushed, people flew up, with helpless voices, This can't be stopped at all." Lin Feng and Suya were standing next to the leopard's body, just in time to see the alien beast rushing over. Immediately, it rushed into the leopard's body. There was a deafening sound boom, and the two of them flew up before they could react. Lin Feng thought in surprise, why did this crocodile suddenly go crazy? Could it be because the leopard died? Suya was equally confused and asked, what exactly does this crocodile alien beast want to do? The crocodile alien beast stared fiercely at the leopard's body. Lin Feng immediately understood the problem and rushed up shouting, stop it! It might want to devour and evolve. The crocodile grinned, its eyes blood red. It braced itself, and its body began to change, turning bright red. Baiji quickly raised her hand to stop and said, everyone, retreat, quickly. Suddenly, a terrifying speed of movement brushed past her face, and she worried, oh no. This speed! Immediately, the crocodile alien beast raised its knee and thrust hard into her abdomen. The thrust sent Baiji flying hundreds of meters away. Lin Feng and Suya had shocked expressions and thought to themselves, this strength and speed, the alien beast's strength has increased by 1 realm. The crocodile alien beast suddenly turned its gaze to Suya, and she seemed to realize it too. On this side, Lin Feng also said absent-mindedly, what? With that, he quickly rushed towards the alien beast, lightning power swiftness. He stood behind the crocodile alien beast and began to gather his strength. Suya worried, how is it possible? Could it be that even Lin Feng can't stop it? Suddenly, a speed rushed in front of the crocodile alien beast. Lin Feng, Suya, and Baiji were all stunned. Mingli spoke in a stern voice, the refugees are safe now. I've come to take charge of the rear, everyone retreat quickly. Suya called Lin Feng, this alien beast has gone beyond the scope that we can deal with. Let's go quickly to avoid hindering her. He refused, if you want to go, go. This alien beast can't kill me. But in his head, he thought, Sister Lu is a transcendent, how can I miss such a good opportunity to observe? The alien beast braced itself in the air. Then, it turned around and used all its speed to rush down on Mengli, its eyes blood red. Mengli stood proudly, without the slightest worry, absolute 0 degree, extreme cold scenery. A layer of ice surrounded her, and the alien beast used its tail to attack the ice. Mengli smiled slightly and said, how foolish. It had also realized the abnormality. The alien beast quickly withdrew the tail that had been inserted into the ice, and immediately its curled tail broke in two. Seizing the opportunity, Mengli unleashed a final move on the alien beast. It screamed in pain, and a dark red liquid began to pour out, seeping into the top of the ice. Lin Feng and Suya gaped, staring in shock, and he said, this is the power of a transcendent? Mengli, with a cold face, adjusted her glasses and smiled lightly. I still wanted to pierce the heart, but it missed a bit. It seems that it's been a long time since I fought. She looked up at the image of the crocodile alien beast being pierced by the sharp ice. Then, she crossed her arms and questioned the two, Suya, Lin Feng, why didn't you retreat with everyone? Suya sat down and breathed a sigh of relief. It's a good thing you arrived, otherwise we would have probably died here. Lin Feng said, I just wanted to see if Sister Lu needed help. Suddenly, the crocodile alien beast's eyes turned blood red, seeming to have woken up. Mengli exclaimed in panic, this killing intent, what exactly is it? Lin Feng also realized the danger, it's really hard to kill. Suya still didn't understand what was happening. She asked, what's wrong with you two? A thunderous explosion rang out. Mengli had just made a move, she said, be careful. She continued to control the ice blocks. The crocodile alien beast appeared behind Suya from nowhere. Her face turned pale with worry. I didn't expect I would have to give up my life here. Absolute 0 degree, instant ice ceiling. Patches of ice began to surround the alien beast again. Lin Feng quickly swung his sword, good opportunity. Let's just get rid of it directly. Unexpectedly, the alien beast, with its blood-red eyes, opened its mouth wide and spewed flames that seemed to burn everything. Suya exclaimed in surprise, what? Fierce streams of fire were continuously spewed out by the alien beast, and its heat blew Lin Feng and Suya away. Suya turned back worriedly and shouted, Aunt? Lin Feng's body was also surrounded by flames, and he was stunned. It's really hard to swallow. This alien beast has actually entered a state of burning soul. And its strength has increased again. Baiji ran back from a distance and shouted, Principal. Mengli painfully lay sprawled on the ground, and Baiji ran over to help her up, stammering, Principal, you, wake up. The alien beast slowly walked behind Baiji, and she seemed to sense it. On this side, Lin Feng hesitated and thought, even a transcendent like Sister Lu can't win. The pieces in my hand are not enough to win. Although retreating is the best choice right now. Sister Lu is the student my mother likes the most. I can't abandon her. His treasure appeared again. Sprite said, Lord Host, give up. The probability of saving the two of them is lower than the probability of winning the lottery. An idea flashed in Lin Feng's head. Winning the lottery, that's right. I still have the chance to draw 10 consecutive times. His body began to float in the air, and the cards continuously rotated around. Sprite smiled gleefully. So tense, won't Lord Host suddenly enter a state of possession? The rotation stopped and a card appeared. Sprite said, congratulations to the host for receiving the plundering card of transcending myriad worlds, and can activate the otherworld journey again. Lin Feng held the card in his hand. Sprite continued, does the host want to use the plundering card of transcending otherworlds to carry out time travel? He replied, time travel? Immediately, Lin Feng and Sprite traveled to a place full of green light. He asked curiously, the feeling is very scientific and technological. Did I travel to the inside of a spaceship? Lin Feng continued to move forward, constantly wondering, strange, it's been so long, why haven't I seen anyone on this spaceship? Sprite wittily replied, host. Be careful, the target of alien ability plundering is in the corner ahead. Suddenly, he stopped, his eyes focused on the object in front. A pink kitten was sitting there. It licked its hands and feet, meow meow. Lin Feng pointed at it and laughed. Why is it a kitten? System, have you made a mistake? Sprite was equally flustered. Impossible, unless there is a system error. Otherwise there will be absolutely no mistakes. In the next second, a terrifying speed. The long red tongue of the cat knocked down Lin Feng and Sprite. Its face was extremely terrifying. At this time, Sprite shouted, the system remembers. That cat is an extremely ferocious star-devouring beast. Lin Feng replied, so that's how it is. It seems that the people on this spaceship have all been eaten by it. He quickly rushed towards the cat, thinking in his head, I can't dawdle. I must quickly go back to save Sister Lu and them. In the next second, he touched the cat's nose, and the system began to display the selection box. Are you sure you want to plunder the alien ability of the star-devouring beast? Confirm, cancel. On this side, Sprite was being tightly wrapped by the cat's tongue. It shouted in pain, host, please act quickly, otherwise the system will be swallowed. Lin Feng quickly pressed the confirm button. He shouted, I confirm. The system announced, checking that the host has successfully obtained the swallowing heaven and earth alien ability from the star. Devouring beast, immediately activate the teleport back. Back to reality, the crocodile alien beast was preparing to attack Mengli and Baiji. Baiji looked at Mengli with a regretful expression. Principal, I'm sorry, I'm really too useless. In the next second, the long tongue wrapped around her. The crocodile alien beast angrily smashed around. Lin Feng immediately appeared in front of the three of them. Baiji exclaimed, Lin Feng, you. At this time, his hand looked exactly like the cat's mouth just now, sharp teeth and a long, fringed tongue. He thought, what exactly is this alien energy? Lin Feng grinned and said with witty eyes, I just awakened an alien ability that can turn the tide of battle. He glanced behind him and said loudly, don't stand here hindering me, get out of the way for me. Baiji did not believe Lin Feng would say this and angrily asked back, you. Baiji helped Mengli up. She thought in her head, isn't this kid just awakening a new alien ability? But he's already so arrogant. Never mind, Sister Lu needs timely treatment. Quickly leave here first, Suya, let's go. The crocodile alien beast was still focusing its eyes on the three of them. Lin Feng said, stinking crocodile, where are you looking? I'm your opponent. With that, he immediately swung his sword at the alien beast. The reflected light distorted through its body. Lin Feng shouted, lightning power, swiftness. Following that, he raised his hand, swallowing heaven and earth. The long tongues and claws continuously swallowed the alien beast. His hand continued to unleash the swallowing heaven and earth. Sprite saw this and worriedly reminded, 1, 2, 3, 78, 79, host, are you crazy? You've swallowed so many alien beasts in the blink of an eye, you'll burst. Lin Feng said, the opponent is in existence that can easily defeat Sister Lu. I need to devour more alien beasts. The crocodile alien beast raised its hand to prepare to unleash a move. It quickly rushed towards Lin Feng. He was constantly working hard to channel his power, shouting, swallowing heaven and earth, devour and transform. Lin Feng shouted, not enough, not enough, not enough. The alien beast raised its knee and poured firepower to prepare to attack. He continued to try to transform. In the next second, the alien beast kicked Lin Feng with firepower, and there was a thunderous explosion. Smoke billowed up, and the kick had sent him flying into a dilapidated building. The alien beast thought it had won and turned to leave. Suddenly, Lin Feng's voice rang out from the rubble, baby crocodile, your move just now was like an itch. Can you hit harder? Lin Feng, in a large body, walked out of the rubble, super master perfect, transcendent low level. He said, come on, crocodile, let me play with you. The alien beast turned around and rushed towards him. Lin Feng immediately moved. In an instant, he was right behind the alien beast. His eyes were sharp. Limitless sword heart severing flow slash. Immediately, the tail of the alien beast broke in two and fell to the ground. It staggered to the ground in pain. Its eyes were angry, its teeth full of ferocity. Lin Feng was also annoyed. Damn it, I still can't adapt to the power of the super transcendence, otherwise I could have killed it just now. Sprite beside him persuaded. Host, please calm down, this power is only temporarily borrowed. He interrupted, I don't need you to remind me, I can definitely kill it in 3 moves. Warlord level 35 form, Transcendent Intermediate. The alien beast turned and ran away. An alien beast with a higher level than the host is frightened by the host, increasing 200 points of negative value, Sprite said. Lin Feng was not willing to give up. He chased after Crocodile. Are you planning to escape? The alien beast spewed firepower towards him. Lin Feng used double swords to block. Limitless sword heart, lightning power, destroying lightning slash. The sword paths continuously attacked the alien beast. Lin Feng used all his speed to unleash moves on it. In the next second, the head of the alien beast fell off. The red liquid on its neck gushed out. He smiled lightly with satisfaction. This VIP experience card brings a really good feeling. I really don't know when I can become a true transcendent. From Super Master Elementary to Transcendent. Elementary. Scene change at the university at this time. Baiji and Suya helped Mengli walk over. The students were in an uproar. The principal is back. Principal, what happened to the principal? Baiji shouted. Quickly call the medical team. Mengli was helped onto a stretcher, and the medical staff examined her and said, the heartbeat is unstable, severely burned, must quickly send her to the emergency room. Baiji watched worriedly. The medical staff behind said, make way, please make way. The students were talking in an uproar. Why is the principal so seriously injured? This, do you still need to ask? It must be because she saved that Lin Feng that she was injured. That's definitely the case. That guy usually likes to show off, but at the crucial moment, he causes trouble for others. Baiji angrily shouted loudly, all of you shut your mouths. If it wasn't for Lin Feng. If it wasn't for me, what? Lin Feng came from a distance, holding the head of the crocodile alien beast in his hand. Baiji didn't believe her eyes and asked back, what? You actually killed that alien beast? He pointed in the direction of Mengli. If it weren't for the great principal to help me block an attack, I wouldn't have been able to bring back the head of this alien beast. Another person shouted, what are you saying? You actually let the principal block an attack for you. One person shouted, you damn bastard, wait until the day you are expelled from school. Another person continued, this time, even if the principal is your biological mother. We will definitely not let you go. People continued to talk. Lin Feng, you actually let the principal block an attack for you. You are really guilty of a heinous crime. You damn bastard, wait until the day you are expelled from school. Sprite beside him smiled gleefully. Congratulations to the host for having an extremely bad reputation in the school, increasing 400 points of negative value. Lin Feng slammed the sword sheath on the ground, and the people standing there were stunned. He said loudly, what are you damn trash with no ability shouting loudly about? If it wasn't for me to take action, your principal would have died long ago. If you are not convinced, then hold it in, and if you want to fight, then I'm all for it. A few students thought to themselves, this Lin Feng is so arrogant. When we get back, we will definitely teach him a lesson. Evening, the bus came to pick up the students back from school. Small alien beasts appeared, and dust rose up. A foot quietly walked over. The leader of the alien beasts was angry. He said, damn humans, you actually dared to go back on your oath, causing many of our compatriots to be killed miserably. He opened his eyes wide. I will definitely take revenge for you. Scene change. The ambulance had moved to the hospital. Mengli was lying on the emergency bed, bandaged all over her body. Suya held her hand tightly and cried. It's all because I am useless and can't help, causing you to become like this. Mengli suddenly moved and spoke softly. She asked, where is this? Suya exclaimed, you've woken up. Mengli took the medicine bottle and poured out a pill, muttering, quickly help me up. She put the pill in her mouth and quickly swallowed it. Suya spoke to remind, and you this is. Mengli suddenly sat up and instructed, yeah, from now on you must pay attention. First, do not reveal your concern for me, and second, do not tell others about the battle situation at this time. Suya asked puzzled, what exactly is going on? Mengli blamed herself, it's all because I was careless for a moment. Now Fengyan University may no longer be within my control. To be able to survive and come back is really too good. I didn't expect the alien beast outside to be much more powerful than the trial dungeon. The student sitting next to Lin Feng said happily, boss, this time you killed one, no, two warlord-level alien beasts, achieving a great achievement. Lin Feng, with his arms crossed, pondered, the power of a transcendent is so powerful, I can't imagine what the strength of the super transcendence will be like. When will I be able to become stronger and face the masterminds behind the scenes to take revenge? Super Master Elementary. Scene change, the polite people said, we are really very grateful to Director Chu. Chu Yan continued, no need to be so polite, this is what we should do. Wen Wei standing next to him also kept praising, Director Chu is really very kind today. He smirked, I have always been kind and generous, is this the first day that Dean Zheng has known me? Wen Wei turned his face away bored, it's best if you don't pretend. A student ran over to reporting, Dean, there are refugees having conflicts with students, please come over to assist. Wen Wei asked back, what? She immediately ran off, keep order well, I will send people there to help. How annoying, could it be that this Chu Yan arranged it? Indeed, that Chu Yan was standing with two masked men, one of them said, Wen Wei has left, when do we take action? Chu Yan smiled evilly, of course we will wait for our great beauty Lu to return before taking action. According to reliable intelligence, she acted rashly this time and encountered danger. The other masked man said, what, this is extremely good news. The other replied, I will arrange for others to quickly infiltrate the school. At the intersection at this time, Lin Feng suddenly had a feeling of unease. This feeling, could it be? The crazy driver was holding the steering wheel. He growled, die, die, die all of you. Lin Feng kicked open the windshield and shouted, hey, what do you want to do? He replied, Lin Feng, are you crazy? He rushed out of the car and blocked the red truck that was rushing towards him. Lin Feng prepared to channel his power, alien energy. High-altitude counterattack. The front of the red car touched his power and began to crack. Immediately, the car overturned on the road. Lin Feng thought, who exactly is behind this scheme, actually aiming at the school bus? He turned around to see another car rushing over and crashing into the red one.